Good morning,
Good
guy.
three. Good morning.
How's your weekend going?
Going well. Been working on a plumbing project for all these plants that we're growing.
Nice. What kind of or how big is that growery or the
It's it's just an indoor high intensity grow. So instead of an outdoor grow, which would normally be like a few acres, the permit's for 10,000 square feet. Uh, so you know, do real small plants and irrigate them, and got a real lean business model that keeps the cost of production down to about 50% of the competitors. So it's more of a
Oh wow,
marketing thing at this point. But
that's
yeah,
pretty reasonable.
got high on PVC glue for 14 hours finishing this project, and then had a pinhole leak. So driving back out to fix it today. But I'm here in spirit, ready to learn.
Nice. So when you say a pinhole leak, does that mean like there's a leak in like the ventilation or
No, so I ran a bunch of new pipe for some fresh water that we're running on the plants to flush them out before harvest, and I reused some old fittings, and one of the old fittings had a pinhole leak, and it was 10 o'clock, and all the plumbing stores were closed. So I am just driving back to the farm right now.
oh nice. All right. Well, hopefully you don't have to
We'll
spend
get
too
it done.
much time.
We'll get it done, and I'll be listening on how to become a millionaire this week as well. So I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime, brother. All right. Just gonna kind of scroll through some flow. Oh wow, arm got hit pretty good. Nothing crazy, just cheap money. In the 50K. So in the last seconds of close, these are just $21,000 in orders. How's it going, Clay? What's up, Johnny? Crazy how like you just change a couple filters and and everything completely changes. Look at this filter I have. Pretty close to the same setup. So after hours, they were hitting SPY puts, and then floor traders were hitting SPX calls, 5950 calls. Let me see here. Yeah, right at close. So I'll track these. This is interesting. Because this is volume over interest, open over open interest, and out of the money trades right here. So let's take a look just quickly. What is the date on those? The 21st. What's it cost? 70 a contract. It's the week after OPEX. Oh yeah, there it is right there. 225 thou. What's interesting though, or sorry, 225 contracts. So size was 100, then they hit 30. Yep, okay. All right, so I'm gonna track this order because this is actually a pretty, excuse me, a pretty sizable order, and it's pretty notable. Hold on. It's pretty notable, like just right at the close. Um, $1 million hit the tape right at the close too on SPY 562 puts. We've been seeing a lot of these kind of puts hit, like pretty big orders, like you can see here too. 562 put, 562 put, January 17th, $4 million, $4 million. Like these are pretty big blocks at the ask. But then you have floor traders hitting SPX calls. And so there's a little bit of mixed stuff going on in this. I'm doing good. How are you doing, buddy? I got my parents over there. They're hanging out with my little boy. So it'll be smooth sailing today. My dad flew in and got the whole crew in town. They went to Knott's Berry Farm last night, and they did. Me and my son didn't because it was way past his bedtime. But they had a good time. Went and saw the lights, um, and then my dad flew in and they picked him up, and so they're doing their thing. They're downstairs hanging out with the little guy. So one thing I noticed last night when I was just kind of cruising through some charts is there's a little bit of like everybody. I don't know if everybody's bullish or what the sentiment is. I have not been on Twitter this weekend, um, but what's up, PB? How are you doing? Hoopty, Johnny, Queen Z, Venkat. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. So what I was saying is there's like I'm gonna go over it today, but there's some stuff that's a little bit like indecisive about the market right now. Um, just like this, perfect example of this flow. You have, what's the date on these? The 5950s for 5 days out got slammed. Whoops, this 5 days, the 27th. And how much did they get hit for? Right at the close, they got hit for 60 contracts, 130 contracts. So about $1 million. And then also they hit the 6,000 calls for 400 grand. So that's the shortest dated stuff that's hitting. We're going to see. What was the open interest there? Open interest was 5,600. All right. So we could have a short-term squeeze up higher, but and then it kind of looks in terms of the flow, looks doesn't look very bullish after this short-term squeeze. I mean, look at this down here. They're, you don't know if those are closed out. I like to look at the flow like right at the close. Oh, this was at the close. The 5950s got loaded for Monday, 200K, and then for Friday, 250 or 500K. So in terms of SPX, pretty good. Let's take a look at the money now. The money positioning for this week. All right. Apple was light. Low, that's right, it's a short week. But it's still bullish. It's not bearish at all. All right, Amazon, same setup pretty much. AVGO, not like overwhelmingly bullish. Coin, oh shit, Coin is actually not bullish at all. Whoa, interesting. That's interesting because what is bullish is February for Coin. They're building up February pretty big. So it'd be interesting to see what they're going to do. Put side heavy for Coin the next couple weeks, actually. But February and June, and then January optics are very bullish. Meta is bearish this week, positioning wise. We're just talking like how the money is calls to puts coming from Friday into today, into this week. Microsoft is slightly bullish, same as Apple and Amazon. Nvidia is probably the most bullish. Yeah, it is the most bullish. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The Qs are bearish this week, next week, the following week. This whole week, the Qs are not bullish. That doesn't mean they can't push it higher. I'm just saying, like coming into today or coming into Friday. This is positioning for Friday. Let's see here. Friday. So it'd be interesting to see what the data says tomorrow morning. Really interesting. Let's check out SMCI bearish. And then let's take a look at SPX AM chain for January. 62 billion to 5 billion call the put for January AM chain. And then, yeah, interesting. It's just, huh. All right. And then the 23rd for tomorrow. Whoa. This would be, oh my goodness. This is going to be really interesting, guys, to see what they do with the puts. I wonder how many puts got rolled off Friday for Monday. All right. Is there anything that's sticking out? This Friday's very bullish positioning wise on SPX, not QQQ. But it could be flipped very easily because it's not like it's just a 2-to-1 ratio. It's pretty bullish though. I mean, there's a lot of money sitting call side. So it'll be interesting to see which way they take it. The most bullish is for the rest of the year, the most bullish day is the 31st. This is going to be fun. I think, yes, it's going to be a low volume week, but I think we're going to get some crazy moves. All right, so let's get started here. All right, do you think most of Fintech's bullish? Okay, that's good to know. That's very good to know. All right. Oh, let's pull up my. All right. We're starting. It's 3 minutes in.
Some CI daily kind of looks a little bit like a very, very tight falling wedge, though. They loaded 36 calls for February 21st for 2 million on Friday too.
For February?
Yeah, February 21st, 36 calls.
So for SMCI, there's 15 million put side, 6 million call side this week. Next week, this week, then the following week, for January 3rd. For January 3rd, it says 7 million call side. 7 million put side, 1 million call side. This is the total amount of calls versus puts on the chain for this each week I'm calling out. Then for January 10th, it's like nothing. It's like 3.5 million call put side, 1 million call side. Here's the kicker. January OPEX. Just throw a number out there. What do you think it's going to be? Yeah.
It's probably a lot more than that than the way you it's
probably
going to be like 3x.
400 million put side, 60
Jesus
million calls.
Christ.
60 million call side. Right? And then, so SMCI is the most bearish structurally, financially, or like positioning wise of all of them. It's not bullish at all. I mean, even all the way out till 2026, it's not bullish.
Wow.
I mean, even, what is it? June OPEX right now is 180 million call put side and 50 million calls. You know, for February, is this February or is this?
Yeah, this is February.
So February, no, March is pretty nasty too. February and March are pretty nasty. So I think retail's buying fucking calls, and I think the big boys are sitting deep in the money on puts,
They're
keeping
loading,
pressure on it.
Yeah, they're loading the other one.
Yeah, and I think because I kind of find it really funny actually, because look at the chart, right? It's a falling wedge, but false breakout, right? It broke out and then just started falling pretty aggressively. If these guys are this heavy in puts, and we get any kind of weakness in the market, I personally, I don't even like playing SMCI. We played it last week, and we caught a $4 move, and my contracts were up like 15% because the IV or something's going on, and those were puts. I don't like playing this at all actually anymore. I used to like it a lot when it was like expensive contracts, but now I'm like, fuck this stock, to be honest with you. But that doesn't mean you can't scalp it intraday, and like if there's a good setup, play it like this hourly. It's just
There's much
back
better
testing.
options, like much better setups though too.
Hmm. Let me go through a couple other things, see if anything sticks out. Tesla. Tesla's really like it's like slightly bullish this week. So it's actually they've been loading puts. The first week of the year, Tesla's not very bullish. It's just not. And then from now until the 10th of January, it's not looking very bullish. But there's 12 billion on call side for January OPEX. This is like the most I've ever seen, I think, for a single ticker. So it will be interesting to see where Tesla. Let's take a look here, because they just keep loading calls, which is kind of odd. Seeing that it just dropped, 60 points. They even just keep loading and loading all the way down. Let's take a look at the chart and see what we come up with. All right, let's take a look at the daily. I mean, that's a classic reversal setup on the daily. If we can find any structural trend. Yeah, so I would say it's gonna bounce right there. It's just kind of like halfway between the 21. And you know what? That kind of lines up with some support. 410. Couple little resistance here. Became support. Maybe they're going to back test it in off this volume shelf. And then we'll take a look at the 4-hour. Yeah, this 4-hour does not look good to me for like long term, because obviously they sold it down, but then this big pop just got slammed. They sold an equal amount. I mean, they didn't even think about holding it up on the 4-hour. That's ugly. And you got a head and shoulders building out actually on the 1-hour. So they could base it here and get it going back up. But based on where the money's positioned, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to do that. All right, let's see what else. All right, let me pull up something here quick. Does anybody have any specific tickers they want me to take a look at quick?
I love sound SOUN RGTI.
Okay, let's take a look. And RGTI, you said?
Yeah.
JPM has some interesting money on it too. Call side 17. Okay. Yeah, I don't like the JPM Morgan setup. I think it's got downside coming all over it. Oh. All right, so sound. What a move, man. A quick move. Mid-November. I mean, this is.
Take a look at the weekly. Start at the weekly first. I mean, it's crazy to me because I was looking at that 18. and change, and it closed way above. This thing is gonna fly. I think even more.
Really? I mean,
I think.
I'm afraid of this ticker right here, to be honest. For me personally, I'm
Yeah,
afraid of it. Yeah,
they
just
just
because
they were hitting
the RSI is at
$30 calls
90.
on Friday.
I mean, it could. Yeah, I mean, absolutely could keep going. But man, intraday, I'd be more. Oh, this weekly scares the shit out of me. I wouldn't want to swing on this at all, but I would trade this intraday. This weekly volume's insane.
Yeah,
500 million, 500 million. Yeah, this thing's going to be like a new big stock. It looks like they want to just keep the
yeah.
daily looks good, constructive.
They hit the
It
thirty
just
dollar
has to
calls
hold
for
the 13.
January 17th for 980,000 right before close. Want to see how much of that holds over, but
Is this a stock that's just going to be $50 at some point?
I think I think 30 is definitely doable. 50, I guess, is, I mean, it's possible, but I just like keep buying the dips on this.
Look at this. This is crazy.
Yeah.
This daily, all right, so perfect reversal setup comes down, tests the 21 or the 13, shoots back up, holds this level. I think moving forward, $8 is the big spot here. They need to hold that level. And above that is right where it closed. What was this candle opened at? 925. And then this one closed at 37. Yeah, I would say 925 intraday is going to be a big spot for it to hold. So you could play the range. If it comes down to the $8 range, you play it to the long side, or and then look to sell up at 925. And then if it holds 925, then you're looking, really above 10, 15 ish for a shot to a new all-time high. Hold on a second. Somebody's hot micing. Okay. Got him. All right. So let's do a quick weekly recap. All right. And talk about last week, because last week was crazy. Okay. So starting the week, we went through the sectors on Sunday, right? And what did we see in the sectors starting the week? We went through XLK. This will be part of our broader market outlook too, doing this. So we saw this like setup here Tuesday, what was it? Wednesday, Tuesday, Friday. So this is the candle we were at. And you had XLK looking strong, right? It was pushing up. They did not print this indecisive candle yet. And then Wednesday was our FOMC day, right? And that thing just rinsed. Look at this move. So now what's interesting with XLK is it got rejected at a previous high top, right? So you have, let me tighten these up. I mean, it was perfect rejection. I'm going to zoom in on this. Like to the wick. This is the tech sector, and you're gonna. I don't know if like you guys are gonna find what I found pretty interesting. So here's XLK was looking bullish, right? Above the 21, everything's just riding, everything's good. And then we get this massive sell. And looking at the sell candle, you know, they did not eat it up, the whole thing. They rejected perfect. So resistance becomes support, Now it's becoming resistance. Okay, so for the market to even push higher, XLK has to get above this spot. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw an alert on there. It's a pivot. So, and the best part is it's to the wick, like to the cent. It was perfect, right on trend. So then we're going to take a look at XLV. Actually, hold on. Before I do that, I want to dive into XLK. So XLK, the biggest stocks in XLK are Apple. Let's see what Apple did. Oh, wow. Interesting. So Apple came down to the bottom of a demand zone, right? And then it drove up almost $9, right? Let's take a look at Microsoft. Oh, interesting. Microsoft was at 455, roughly 454. It drove down to 428, got bought up to 450 or 443, and closed below the daily 21 and below a hidden trend line. Right? So this is a hidden trend line. It's a previous resistance turned into support, now becoming resistance. So Apple got bought up, full bullish engulfing candle. Microsoft, you could pretty much call this a neutral day. It was actually it was flat. Why does it say flat? Interesting. Daily, yeah. So yeah, it was. I mean, roughly, we'll just call it flat for the day. Amazon, flat, up 0.75%. Very bullish setup, coming in, right? Sold down. And the key point here is this: 230.78, 220.78, we'll call it. What's 50% of that? 225. Where'd they close us? But actually, 225.78 is the 50% retrace. Where did it get rejected? Right there. Here, let me do this. Yeah, so the high was 231. The low was, I'll just call it 230 to 230 to 221. That's $9. That's $4.50 move. So that's 224.5. So they shot up and they closed the sucker pretty much right at 225, almost at just a slight hair above the 50% retrace. Is that right? It's 230.6. Yeah, it's right there. Pretty darn spot on. Maybe a hair below it. So that's not bullish at all. Okay? That's not a bullish thing to do. I mean, you have the market pushing up, right? Here's a zone. This area right here is now turning into resistance right here. That's what's happening. Until market pushes up and builds structure over this, then we look long. But right now, Amazon is not a long. Microsoft is not a long. Look at this big wick sellers came in and just drove the price right back down until Amazon can get back above the 21 in this hidden trend line. We can look to take it long to 442. Okay, right where this wick got rejected and this one did. Okay, 442 to 444. If that builds structure, then we go to the next spot, which would be 447, this next supply. Then 450, right? So level by level, step it up. But if it does not maintain strength and this hidden trend line and the 21 start to curl and this becomes resistance, the next spot down is going to be right here, right here at this pivot, 427 to 428 roughly. So Apple looking bullish, Microsoft looking bearish, Amazon looking bearish. Meta, another interesting spot. Okay, if you look back on the daily, all right, tap, 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 explosion, comes down. Now it's in a critical spot. You can see that with Meta, the selling pressure was so great that it flushed it all the way down to the bottom of the volume shelf, and it shot up on Friday, but it got rejected above resistance. So you know how XLK got rejected here? This one actually blew through it and got stuffed. This is not a good sign for Meta. In my opinion, it's not, because the inability to even close near this upper resistance is not good. Like, to me, it looks like the pressure of these EMAs is that it's going to start to create is going to flush this sucker down, probably to this level. Okay. The reason why I say that is because if you look at pattern history of stocks when they start to roll over, this is what typically happens. And like the next 3 days are really critical for all these stocks. I'd say no, this next week is really critical. This next week into, I would say the next week to 2 weeks are really, really, really critical for the whole market, because there's a couple of things that are happening under the hood. You have, first of all, the largest OPEX or option expiration in the whole in the last 2.5 years on Friday that expired, right? So all that supportive bullish flow of that 200 billion and 150 billion, whatever it was at. All right, let me just. So all of that is gone. That's support for the market. All that call flow sitting there in the money, and now that stuff, that support's not there. So what has to happen? They have to continue to buy calls in the money, support the market, and then they obviously have to buy the underlying. So let's take a look at this pattern. So what I notice a lot of times is when a stock is about to roll over, it comes down, it breaks through aggressively through the EMAs, right? You have here. Then it bounces into it, which it did Friday, and that's a pivotal point. Hold on a second. I have to take a 1 second break. My son is like going apeshit. I'm going to check in on him. So what I see a lot is, as the stock starts to roll, like you could see here, it did the same thing. It started to roll, but then got bought up really quickly. Started to roll, got bought up really quickly. Same thing here. Started to roll, consolidated, and then they ripped it. So that's why I say this is a really pivotal point in the market. Very pivotal. Okay. So if they don't buy this up within the next week or two, this thing's going to see this spot down here, no doubt, 540. So this is going to be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. You can see, look at this. Right here. Rolled over, shot up, rejected, rejected. And then look what happened. Dump, dump, shot up again, tried to get reclaimed, and then just flushed hard. So what that would look like here is this. Shoot up, it could reject, shoot up, reject. Looks like a bear flag, right? And then gaps down, right? Gaps down to here. Shoots back up to the EMAs and then gaps down, right? So that's what could happen very, very easily coming into the new year. And I want to be just realistic with everything in the market. I don't want to be like, oh, it's bullish and oh, this looks like this and that looks like I don't really give a shit. I just want to be realistic and take everything as face value. All right. So there's Meta. Now let's take a quick look at XLV. XLV, last week we were like, wow, this does not look strong at all. And it just rolled over. It was here, right here, and it broke support. And now it's trying to reclaim this trend line. This is a big trend line here. This is the healthcare sector. Okay, this is the low from March 2020. Yeah, I said that. The low from March 2020. This trend line made a low of October 2020 and tapped it and held. Look at this. There's no coincidence that the market is hanging on for dear life here. This sector. If this sector goes, it's not good, not going to be good. Because there is nothing holding this. I mean, you have support here, right? If you look back, a lot of support. Actually, you know what? Looking back on this might be a good time to long something for a fake breakdown, possibly with a very tight risk, right? Because if it loses this, it's probably going to come back into the mid range of this consolidation, probably right in here. So another $4. So XLV is actually in a spot that could be bullish, a bullish reversal. Okay, I quickly want to take a look at. Does anybody know what the top stocks in XLV are?
ABBV.
That was robot voice. What was that?
Lilly, UNH, J&G, J&J, ABBV.
AbbVie.
Yeah.
So, yep. So the top holding in this deal is Lilly. It's got a 12% weighting. Now what we do is this. Take a look at Lilly. It's very important. Like, you guys might be like, oh, what the fuck is he doing all this stupid sector shit? This is how you understand where the market's going to go. And this is how you understand rotation and where the money is moving in or going to move into. So, there's a guy on Twitter who talks about like, oh, you want to be where the puck's going to be, blah, 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 right? It's true. Like if you know that this sector is about to reverse and maybe give another run into this trend line, right? And it's also a defensive play. Well, we want to be in that sector, right? We don't need to play tech all the time. And all this stuff pays great too. And plus it's not on a FinTwit's radar, so that's a good thing as well. And if tech starts to roll over, where's money going to go? Well, most likely into healthcare. So I've been watching J&J for a long time. And you're going to see something cool. And Lilly's number one, United Healthcare is number two. And I looked at United Healthcare option chain last night, and I found some interesting volume on the chain. Let me take a look through just really quickly. UNH, the money. Because I know everybody's like, oh my God, they had so much bad news. with the CEO passing, but that doesn't mean that the hold on a second here. All right, where is it? UNH. That doesn't mean it's going to go down. Actually, in fact, to me, that makes me want to be bullish with all that bad news. All right, so this week, next week are bearish for UNH, fairly bearish for the next 2-3 weeks. Wow. Actually, the chain is extremely bearish. All the way out. Interesting. Huh. Let me see if they're loading any calls. Nope. Nothing. So this does not look good for you for the sector. However, look at this. So Lilly had a huge gap up. And look, oh my God, this is bad. This is bad, dude. But what's interesting is the inverse head and shoulders is still intact. It has not broken down yet. So UNH is just not going to be one that we're probably going to play unless we just start seeing really great positioning and flow coming in. All right, let's take a look at the 4-hour quick. I mean, this is crazy. They gapped it to 852 and they sold it 100 down. Wow. Or no, they didn't gap it. That was a pre-market. Wow. So that just tells me, like, man, these guys are trying to get the hell out of this stock, right? At least for now. I mean, why if they're in down here, right? And they shoot this thing up and it's such good news, right? And then they sell it all the way down, like why would they do that? Like that's not bullish. I mean, look at this daily candle. That's so bearish. It's a bearish engulfing sell candle. The volume was 10 million sold on good news. So we'll see what they do this week. Take a look at the hourly. Yeah. But does not look good. All right, this is J&J daily. Pretty solid candle coming off the lows. Holding support perfectly off 143. When do they have earnings? Third week of January. All right, so they have earnings third week of January. You have a really nice RSI setup. You have a pretty much bullish engulfing candle from and really nice buy volume. So J&J is the third weighted sector at 7%, or third weighted stock in this sector. And it's at the bottom of a nice channel. So I'm more interested in looking at this stock than I am the other two heavyweights. J&J has been trading in this channel since 2022. You can see here. And now it's coming back down to the bottom. So this is pretty good. I think moving forward, what we could do is, since there's support here at 143.40 and the buyers are clearly sitting there, if it comes down to that or gets in that range, I want to be looking for a longer swing because the IV is really low on this stock. You can make some really good money on weeklies, on 2-3 week out calls. So and coming into earnings, the fact that it's coming down into earnings, a few, like almost a month out, is either is going to have a run into it, or it's just going to consolidate and then rip hard into it. So we'll see how it plays, but I definitely want to keep an eye on that. All right, now let's move on quickly. Okay, here's XLY. Does not look good. This has got Amazon and Tesla in it. Hanging man candle. This candle right here is a hanging man candle. That's not good. That's a reversal setup. Bearish engulfing confirms a rejection of previous support, right? Now it's turning into supply. Then we have XLE, okay? XLE is extremely oversold. Extremely oversold. I mean, to a level where the last time it's been this oversold on the daily is 2020 in March during COVID. Every time it's gotten this oversold, it's seen a nasty bounce. This is going to be on the top of my list, I would say. I've been watching this very closely. I'm not trying to catch a knife, but the knife is kind of hitting the rubber right now. So,
XOM 110 for February 21st got 1.2, just about 1.8 million in the last 30 minutes before close on Friday.
that's perfect. Then that like just fits perfectly to the sector rotation. Things are starting to move out of tech, has ran all year, and we're seeing, money probably start to rotate into some value. All right, so let's take a look at XOM. Oxy had good flow, had good news on Buffett buying again. I think that's an interesting setup because every mother and their son is trying to follow Buffett. So is he exiting on their liquidity or what's going on? But I would prefer. Oh, what the heck? Why is this doing? There we go. So XOM. Here's a question. Or what is the stock that is the number one weighted and the number two weighted stock in XLE, the energy sector? Anybody but Bags. Sorry, Bags. I love you, but
all good, brother.
You know all the answers. Okay. XOM. Yep, exactly. So XOM is almost 22% weighted. And let me just show you. Yeah. XOM is 21% weighted, and Chevron, CVX, is 15% weighted. The next closest is ConocoPhillips at 8%. Like, you guys, like that's a big deal. Because the reason why it's a big deal is because this whole sector lives and dies by XOM and CVX. And knowing, just simply having that in the back of your head, I mean, like where is Oxy? It's nowhere. It's not even in the top 10, right? So, like, thinking about it, like, we don't really want to be playing Oxy. Yeah, you could get great moves, absolutely. And you know what? It's probably a good long for common shares here. I don't even look at the chart, but like, this sector will live and die by XOM and CVX. And if they're going to move the sector, these stocks have got to make big moves. So we're going to focus on these two. Look, XOM's basically a mirror image of XLE. And let's look at this. It's sitting on a really nice supportive volume, or volume support. What the hell? Let's take a look at the weekly quick. The weekly looks ugly. But if you take a look at the weekly, there's a volume support right here where we closed. Let's just throw a level right there. Right there. We'll go 88 and then 7 closed. All right. And what's interesting to me, I love this actually, is how far away we are from the 13 and the 21. It's a lot. The only thing that's like really bearish about this, the thing that's really, really bearish about this is you have three black crows. 1, 2, 3. This is bad. It's not good. But, and last week, look at all that sell volume. Like it peaked out. So could this have been the capitulatory sell into support? Maybe. I think so. You have support right here that it's holding on the weekly. Okay, it's the bottom of this range, you could call it, right? This is the range. So we could see a nice little bounce up to this area. When's earnings? It looks like it's end of July or January, my bad. Yeah, end of January, 31st. So another sector where money can rotate in as a defense to protect capital. So I like this setup, but we're going to have to be very careful. Now let's drill down to the daily first. This daily's in the dirt. Like it's really oversold. And you know what's interesting? Look at this. What do we got here? That's a reversal setup. Oh no, that's a 12-hour. What am I looking at? I don't want to look at that. 4-hour. Yeah, very constructive here, but we have not broke downtrend yet. I want to see this downtrend break. So I'm going to throw an alert here. So once this thing breaks up, and really we want to see it, like if it pops up, so it will most likely get rejected at 106.78. Okay, you have kind of two options, right? You wait till it breaks, and then you wait till the back test, and then you start to build a longer swing in, which is the best way to do it. Because really, you want to be able to capture this move up to 111 to 112, roughly. Like that's a nice move. The IV is really low. It's like 20%, if that, and you can make some really good money on this. Now let's take a look at the hourly quick. Same thing's happening. You have bullish divergence on the hourly. You have a lot of little different. This is a little different than this. Can anybody tell me why this setup is looking more bullish? Like it's going to break out this week? It's because we got a couple answers. Let me see. Yeah, exactly. Yes, both of them are correct. So the EMAs have flattened out here at a bottom off the weekly support level, right? So you can see EMAs flattened here, and started to curl, and then just got stuffed. And then, but the overall trend is down, right? So that's why I say like we really want to be careful because it could come up here and be like, and then stuff down, right? It very easily could because it did that back here. It did it back here. However, I don't think that's going to happen this time because you're so oversold on such a low on the bigger time frames, and you're holding a really heavy support and volume shelf on the weekly. So I think in this candle structure here and here, like right here, is different than this. There's a lot different, because you have more time in between this move and the price has not moved. That's more of accumulation to me than just like a quick pump and dump, right, for the next leg down. And so what I would do is I would do this thing, same thing I teach you guys. Take a trend line out, draw it on the hourly, and then you're going to take another trend line, and draw it there. So now as it presses up and squeezes up and out, we want to see it hold this structure and ride this up and out. This is going to be top watch. Let's take a look at Exxon. Same shit. Same stuff. there. And then we'll take a look at the downtrend. It's the same setup. I bet you the weekly looks identical. Yeah, it does. I tell you what, if uh, they could bring this actually down a little lower to this trend line down here. All right. Yeah, it's holding a really critical volume shelf here as well. So it really needs to get up above 45.23 to get going. This will be interesting this week. Like, oh my goodness, like there's a lot of stuff that it does not look good. Everybody may be bullish. I'm not. Absolutely. Fuck no. I'm not bullish. I don't see it. I think I saw a lot of posts saying, "Oh my God, it tapped the 50 SMA or MA, whatever they said," and it was like some kind of bullish pin dot candle or whatever the hell the name was called for it. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, the whole market went up because of Apple. Literally, the whole market went up. So the only thing we really give a shit about coming into Monday for SPX is guess what? Apple. If Apple holds up, we and then the other Microsoft, Meta can be supportive, then we go higher. But this is the key, Mr. Apple. Okay, and so I think, to me, it just smelled like an artificial short squeeze, right? An artificial short squeeze where all they were doing was, squeezing out shorts and, and wiping the IV off the chain, right? So, I mean, Apple could break out here too, just keep going. And if that's the case, we're going to 6,100 and 6,200 or higher. But, these other sectors have got to, or these other stocks and sectors have got to participate. I mean, they can't just keep rolling over. XLB, same thing. Like, look at these. I'll just pull up only the sectors. Like, this is not good. Yeah, these things could mean revert. This could mean revert back up. Okay, this would be like Home Depot, XLI, industrials. Okay. XLB, same thing. Dump. I mean, this looks bad. But if this sector comes back up and tests this volume shelf, that's going to be supportive for SPY right here. Right? So that's why, like, in the morning, one thing I like to do is I like to check in pre-market what the sectors are doing and what the heavyweights in each sectors are doing. I just check. Look at this. This is XME. Same thing, rolling over. This is aggressive. Like, what the fuck is going? I mean, this is not normal for to me, this is not a normal thing that you see throughout the year is, this actual whole sector be this far away from the EMAs, right? Like that doesn't look bullish. That doesn't look normal to me because, and yeah, it could be bullish because look at this, look at the reversions that this thing has. It shoots all the way down and then boom, snaps back. I mean, this king could snap back. You have XLI, like when was the last time XLI, the industrial sector, was this far away? I mean, they could snap this back very easily, right? And then we'll see what happens. But this is a pretty aggressive and steep move down. Same thing. Like this does not look good. And I mean, there's people saying, "Oh my God, the banks flow and it's all good." And yeah, these sectors cannot go down much more. If they break previous lows, the whole market's going to crumble pretty good. So that's why I'm not leaning like overly bullish, but I'm also understanding like this can mean revert back and we can get a nice fat short squeeze up. XBI has a daily reversal setup. Okay, this is I don't like playing XBI. Fuck that. I don't like playing these stocks in this sector. They're too risky. Like you could play it, but let's see here. XLE, we covered that. We covered XLK, XLY, XLC. This is communication, same thing. Reversal setup, dump, shot up and rejected. So let's take a look quickly. The last thing I want to do with the sectors is this. Okay. I'm going to go through all the sectors really quick. And all I want you to do is watch how, and this I'll do the date range from 2020, we'll go 2022 or 2020 to now. Okay. Can you just throw a one in the chat if you all can see my screen clearly? You don't need to see the candles as much as you just need to see the yellow EMA and price. Okay, good. All right. So look at how far away price is today from the 200. $10 plus, right? A little over 10. Look at over here, 76. As it started to roll, I mean, this maximized at 10 right here. And then it came back in, snapped back and shot under, right? Obviously, you have COVID. COVID, it was at 57 and it snapped back to the EMA. That wasn't even $10 away. So in this thing, my point is this sector is already 10 away, right? It's $10 away from the 200 and it's already started rolling. It's momentum, right? We're gonna do it again. XLF, right? COVID, shots back. Now this one extended way down because obviously the banks are going to get hit during COVID, but it snapped back right in. Same thing here. Snap back, touch, snap back, touch, shot up over it. Back, so that there's a theme here. These sectors like to magnet, everything likes to magnet back to the daily 200. And here we are, we started to roll over already. We were at 52, call it, and that's a decent amount away. And it wants to come back to me. Look at this, XLU. This is the safety sector, utilities, right back to the 200. And now holding, nice bullish engulfing candle. So we could look at NEE. NEE is one of the top holdings in this sector, NextEra Energy. Take a quick look. It's also a defensive sector. Oh, look at that. It held a very important line. The zone, very, very supportive. So we could see NEE catch a bid and move back up. All right, now we're going to go back. Okay, and then I want to take a look at XLC. All right, so look at this. Look at how far XLC is. Look at how far XLY is. Look at this. This is crazy. I mean, this is wild. Wow. I don't think I've never seen this ever, actually. But I mean, if you go back, there's nowhere in history ever the market has done this. Like, would you want to be like buying up here? I don't. Oh, fuck no. Look at XLK. This is the tech sector. Not that far away, but still. This EMA is so vertical. Oh my goodness. Every time it touches it since 2023, it's bounced really hard. So let's see if we can get another bounce. They dropped it underneath it. I think this is August. Yeah. All right. That's enough of that. So that's the sectors. They're not looking bullish at all. Okay. Look at this. This is Netflix. It's 200 points away from the 200. Give me a fucking break. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, Nvidia at least is like within range. It's $15 away, and it's rolling. And so Nvidia is actually rejecting a trend. Tap, 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 rejection. The retest is failing. Unless it gets up and over. Hold on a second. Let's take a little 3-minute break. I gotta tend to something quick. Let's take a little 3-minute break, and then we'll come in the last hour and a half. All right. All right. So let's take a look. Let me see here. So with all this like being said, right? Like the sectors are kind of rolling. Let's take a look at IWM. IWM broke down. Like this doesn't mean like that the market's like done. Like this is a perfect channel now. Now it's like symmetrical. Like we swung the 250s for January, I think it was. Yeah, yeah, January for February. No, for February. Yeah, and they're really cheap. Like I think IWM is going to be a great play. Look at how close it is to the 200. And if it holds this low here, this is going to be our stop. Like if you want a good risk to reward on a long-term swing that can really pay, like these contracts are 1.33 when we got in, and they're already up a little bit. But like there's no reason why this thing can't shoot up back into the range where it was just at. This is it's holding a nice volume shelf. It's on this. So looking at the bull side of things, like let's take a look at Tesla. Like this is still holding trend. It's actually in a place that you want to buy, right? So technically, it's just a test of the 13. Every time it's tested the 13, we get big moves, right? And this could be a bull flag, right? Oh, shoot. Okay, so we'll take this trend line here. So this could become like, a bigger time frame flag, right? Here's the pull up, and then it just goes up for the next leg up. If it moves back up and it starts to get constructive, I mean, this thing could go right back up to, 490-ish, all-time high. So I don't mind these things setting up like this. But I just want to be very aware and neutral because at the end of the day, Apple did carry the whole market. It literally did. Everything sold except for Apple. So this is either going to give us a good opportunity to go long in some stocks like Meta. Meta's on support. Nvidia has to reclaim this trend line, and then it's going to get supportive, and then it will get going. MSTR, I mean, I don't know what to say about MSTR. This thing, it dropped down to 300 roughly, and it had almost a 50-point move. Pretty dirty. We'll just keep watching flow because I mean they've been hitting calls nonstop on this thing. It's pretty wild actually. But we'll see. All right, and AVGO. I mean, this thing just broke down into a flag. Now it's looking somewhat constructive on the smaller time frames. Big breakout, back test on the 4-hour, holding the 21 on the 4-hour. To be more of the channel right there. So I think this week being Christmas and all, we want to really exercise a lot of caution and pick our spots because the volume's going to be low. Well, it's most likely going to be low. And so top stocks to watch. Well, I put top breakout stocks. I don't think we're looking for breakouts here at this point unless it's sound, SOUN. What else was the other one? Or this one? This one looks pretty solid. RGTI that Bags brought up. Let's take a look at the miners here. Back at the bottom of the channel of this big flag. So these next couple of weeks are really critical for these miners, and let's see what they're going to do. I mean, are they going to drop it down a little bit lower? I don't know. It's not looking good because BTC needs to hold. I think it's 90. It needs to basically get back up over 100. That's the line in the sand. If it doesn't, it breaks this low at 92. It's going to come down probably to, I think, what would we say, 84 to 88 roughly. Yeah, so it'll come down into here. You have a lot of bullish flow on coin, but it's all long dated. Everything's fairly bearish flow wise for the next like 3 weeks. All right, trading momentum. Let's get into this. Trading momentum and trading level to level. So Friday, let's take a look at 15 minutes. Now let's start at the beginning of the week. Okay, beginning of the week, we were unable to break above 86, right? And then we had, we traded this breakdown right here, which was really nice, right off FOMC. We took calls here and they ripped up, and then we got paid. It was great. Then it chopped in the range, and then we get this massive move. Now, as soon as it broke 50, let's go to the 15 minute. As soon as it broke 50, it was like, okay, well, we want to go short. However, our strategy that we had come up with was we were expecting a bounce because 80% of the time it bounces when Powell speaks. So here's Powell. He spoke. It literally bounced like nothing. It like 10 points. Like that's nothing. Usually you get like a snap back, and you can see like it didn't at all. So we chased puts, which was fine because they went ridiculous. It went from 55 cents on the call to $20. It was absolutely insanity. Then we come into an oversold level. They floated up overnight, just like we expected to, and they chopped us sideways and then dumped it overnight into Friday. Now, Friday, you got to be thinking like, obviously, the schematic we were looking at was, it was either bearish or bullish. We had two setups that we were looking at, but the pivot was 58.50 over, or for 58.45. Over 58.45, we're long. Under it, we're short. And unfortunately, I was, taking care of my son Friday, but everybody knew what to do because it was laid out in the plan, and it was laid out, and Wyckoff laid it out too. So you guys, and then, starting out of the gates on Friday, I called Tesla 430 calls at $3.6, or yeah, 3.6. And that was when Tesla was at 426, right out of the gates. It's very, very easy setup. That thing went, I think those went to like well over $1,500, or sorry, $15 a contract. And then coin, we called those. They said you take the coin 270s. It was down here. It popped up. That's not when I said it. I said it right in this area, right when it reclaimed it. It was at 265. It was a perfect setup. And this thing ripped as well. So all these setups, what we're looking at is the levels that they're holding, right? And how the EMAs, right, are looking. And if the broader market, most importantly, pops up from this range, right? This is the big spot right here. This spot right here is huge. Let me pull up the hourly. Okay, so if I should go 4 hour. Okay, so this 4 hour, this is a trend line from September low. Tap, tap. And then they hadn't tapped it, and they finally brought it down, and they broke it underneath. So as soon as this thing, so that's why I was like 45 is the pivot, because as soon as they broke it above the trend line, we're above 45. So a hold above 45, that's auto long. You don't even have to be above the 21. It's just auto long because you have such an easy risk to reward. If it breaks below, you're done, right? So looking at that, that's level to level, right? And then as you see momentum on the 5, the 3, the 10, the 15, whatever you prefer, this is the easiest part. Once you see this momentum carry, right, it shoots up and then boom, slams down, right? So this is right at open. It shoots up, boom, slams down, and then immediately reclaims what? 45. Immediately. So looking at this, you want to be thinking in your head, like, all right, what's happening? Not oh, what do I do? Do I get calls? And then you're in calls and you're like, oh shit, I got stopped out. And you're like, oh man, what about you? Like you can't be acting like that. You have to like think like, okay, they pushed us up. Okay, if the price is over here, right? And you're looking at price action in this area, you're trying to figure out what to do. What you want to be thinking is this. Okay, they pushed the price up, they came back down, and they pushed us up. And what are they doing? They're back testing this supply in this big level here, right to my fib at 58.31, which is the previous low during FOMC. And they hold it. So then you see price bounce and hold, you long that shit all day, right? And then you're like, oh, well, we're over 45. That's the pivot, right? It's also the data high point, right? PCE data high was at 44, right? So you know that you've got to be thinking that's a big level. This is trading momentum and trading level to level, right? So now what do? Okay. So now you're in this, right? And you don't want to like just be like, oh, well, shit, do I get out? Do I hold? And it pops. Now you're up 2, 3, 4, 500% here. Okay. Now you're like, okay, they broke that level. They broke that level. You shouldn't really be looking at this point here, you should be looking to scale a little bit and trim like half your position into this support, right? And the reason why is because if you look at the 5, we are extended. So you sell not full position, but you sell a chunk of it into this, but you don't sell full because you have to leave some runners. Because look at that candle, that hourly. Whew. I mean, you could see this. You got to be thinking in your head like you could see a 50% retrace of this candle and it's still bullish because all it would do is test the 21 and keep going, right? So if it comes down, you're like, oh, I better get out. Well, that's the point to add, right? Because your contracts should probably be only, they'd probably be up, 300-400% here. They come down to probably like 150% up. You want to add to that position and risk this 21 because it just crossed over and the 50% retrace maintains momentum up, right? So that's how you really want to be thinking about it. And that's level to level and trading momentum. So you have a powerful crossover, you get a big move up, and then it just snaps 5,900 and goes crazy. And then at that point, once you break this wick, this previous high over here at 59.35, 59.33, then you're just like, stops in at even, sell a big chunk and leave one runner for the hell of it, and then just see where it goes. And then this would be the target. Like, so this day, I think Thursday, I was expecting this day to hit this equal high here at 65. Obviously, it happened Friday, but that's what I was expecting to. It's here. So right now, looking at the markets, we can say it's still constructive, right? Because what's happening? Holding this level. This was resistance, okay? And now it pushed up and it's come back down and it's holding that level. So moving forward, we're still bullish right now, okay? Hourly's bullish, got across to the upside, okay? Price is just mean reverting back in, right? So we're going to hang on to a bullish thesis temporarily, okay? But let's just see where price opens up in pre-market, see what the positioning looks like, and we'll be watching Apple. Okay, let's pop over to the VIX. My son is not taking a nap right now. This is very odd. Something's going on. I take a trend line here. Interesting print on the hourly. A nice doji. This is a reversal. It's sitting right on a pivot. 18. So, how we're going to tackle this Monday is we're going to watch Apple and we're going to watch watch these support levels. We're going to watch the VIX. We're going to watch and see how US 500 holds this specific spot, basically 5,900 to 5,912, right? Those are big spots. And if it does hold and gets constructive, let's get a good squeeze up. If not, we're just going to be patient and we'll let something set up for in the afternoon. All right, managing a trade and a stop loss. All right, and taking profit strategies. All right, so does everybody know where they take their first scale out on profit in any trade? Does everyone know where they should be trimming and how they should move stops? Yes, 100%. Yep. So, correct. So you take your first scale in profits at 30%, and then what do? You move your stops up. You move your stop from, a minus 20% or 15, or if you have a small account, it should be like 5 to 10%. 10% probably. I would not want to be risking more than 10% if I have a small account. You can recover from a small loss, but you can't recover from a medium to big loss as easy, and it puts too much pressure on you. So you move your stops up. So let's just say we're in this trade. Okay, this is how we handle it. Okay, it broke this 45 level. I'm getting in. I'm in calls. I'll get in the 5,900s. Great, they're $1. Awesome. I'll buy 10 of them. Okay, shoot. It shoots up. Oh shit, I'm already up 100%. It happened so fast, I couldn't keep control of it. Okay, so I'll scale. Okay, maybe I got 10 for $1,000. Maybe let's just say I got 5 for 500. All right, what do? I scale 3 contracts. Boom, out. Right? Why 3? If I have a small account and I only have 5, you need to make sure you make money on this trade if you have a small account. So you scale more. Okay. Now, if you have a larger account, okay, let's just say a medium, small size to a medium, just say it's 10 to 20, say 10 to 50,000. Okay. 10 is still a small account, but if you have 10, you're pushing, right? You're pushing up and you say, okay, well, if I have a $10,000 account, and I have 10 contracts, okay, that's 10% risk. Okay, so 10% of your capital, you're risking 20% of that 10%. So you're risking $200 out of the 10 grand you own, right? So now if it pushes up and you're up 100%, you're up $1,000, you can scale 30 to 40%, right? And then you move your stops up to positive 20, 30%, right? That way, if it keeps going, now you're up 500, 700%, then you just get the hell out and take your money and be happy. But for the small accounts, I want you to be locking in more than 30% of your money when you hit 30%. It needs to be more like 70%. If you are under a $5,000 account, okay, until you get to $10,000, you cannot be, holding that long, okay, unless somebody's walking you through a trade, right? And there's such high conviction, it's going to go, right? So even then, you should still be scaling half your position. So if you have a $5,000 account or less, until you get it to 10 grand, when you hit 30%, sell 70% and move your 30% up to positive 10% break, or just above break even, like just above break even, right? You can't afford to let a 30% trade, because if you got, say you put $100, you got a $500 account and you put $100 on something and you're up 30%, lock it in. Now you're at 530. Okay, lock it in. Okay, the next trade. Oh shit, I'm up 20%. All right, lock it in. Now you're at 550. Like just keep locking it in. Like keep stacking it up. Okay, because what happens is this: you see guys like me or OB or or Vince Wyckoff is, or some of these other guys like I think who else? Some of the other pros in the room. It's like we are scaling 100%, but we can experience a scale out 30% of 30% scale out at 30%, right? A small scale trim, and then see it go back to even time after time after time after time after time, right? Like why would you want to hold? The odds of you hitting 100% trade in this room are pretty good, right? But the thing is are you taking the trades that we take that typically hit 100%? And what kind of trades are those? They're SPX. Those trades are not coming from CLSK, Riot, very rarely, earnings plays, yeah, maybe. But like very rarely are you seeing regular tickers go 100%. They do, absolutely. And here we do, yeah. But the point is are you trying to hold every single ticker, every trade for more than 30%? What if you just compounded gains for the next 2 months at 30%? So as soon as I hit 30%, I'm all out. All out. Right? What would happen to your account? What would happen to your $500, $1,000, or $5,000 account if every single time you got into a trade, you put a 10% stop loss on, right? And you had a great entry, right? And it went 30% and you got out. Whether it was 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or an hour and you got there. I'll tell you what would happen. Your account would grow. It would grow. You get stopped out a lot at 10%, but it would definitely grow. Because if you have a 10% stop at $500 account and you get stopped out for $50, it's going to make you get a better entry. It's going to make you think, well, shit. And another thing, don't be buying fucking out of the money calls like crazy. I talked about this last week. Yeah, obviously you get anomalies like this week where you could have on SPX. That's fine. But don't be sitting there hot dogging, Netflix calls, $800 weekly calls because they're $1 or 50 cents. It's just stupid. Like that's not understanding how premiums work at all. It's not at all understanding it. When somebody calls out and starts saying, hey, I like the 5900s because they're 50 cents, because I think we can get there, that's because momentum's so fucking aggressive and there's zero buyers coming in, and I can see that happening. Very rarely would I do that. Rarely. Blue moon. Right? So do this. Not for me, for your fucking self. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, too many people, I know who you guys are. Right? I know what you're doing. You're hot dog. And you don't have the fucking capital to hot dog. Okay? And the market's not a place to sit there and do that with a $500 fucking dollars or $2,000 or $5,000. Like, come on, like, give me a fucking break. Like, seriously, like, it doesn't matter how great our trades are and how big the winners can be. Build a fucking account. Okay, build your account. That's priority. Okay, then when you get to your account to 10 grand, okay, now the strategy can adjust. The strategy can go from instead of 10% stop loss and then make 30 and then take all my shit off at 30 and then you wait till the next day or wait for another setup and maybe I have a three trade limit for the day. Okay, maybe what I do is wait till then when I hit 10 grand, I'm like, okay, awesome, goal achieved. Now what are you doing? You're building confidence. You're building like discipline, right? Now you can start to play ball a little bit instead of hot dogging and going from 2,000 to 500 back to 1,000 blown account, 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000 blown account. Like, how the fuck are you going to do that? Grabbing 50 out of the money on a regular ticker. or $10 out of the money or $5 out of the money. Like, it's just stupid. Like, there's a reason why deltas are on the contract chart. Deltas are important, okay? And the VIX is still high. It's at 18. Okay, it's not like at $14. Okay, so like let's be careful. Let's be strategic. Okay, if you keep stopping out, what is that telling you? It's telling you your entries suck. Okay, telling you need to be more disciplined and wait for an entry because you can't afford to take a 20% drawdown. You can't afford to take a $100 loss on a $500 account on one trade, right? And you should be asking us in chat, hey, or privately, hey, is this a good spot? Ask me. Like, I'm here, you guys. I answer everybody, everyone, right? Just DM me. Hey, what do you think about this trade? Okay, yeah, I like it. Or hey, what do you think about this contract? No, too far out of the money. I don't like that. Right? Be careful. Because even if it reverses, you're not going to get as smoked as far as if you were too far or too close to the money. If you're too far out of the money and you even have a month, like you have to get the move so fast to in that direction for even to make money. Like, and that's the thing is like if we do take out of the money calls, you need to be so, so disciplined. If that thing does not move for you, get the fuck out. Get out. Okay? Just get out. Don't even think twice about it. Right? The easiest thing for me to do is to cut and move on. Why? Because then I know I'm that much closer to a better trade. Right? Like if this one doesn't move, then that one will move. Like no worries. So stop hot dogging with small accounts under 5K and taking far out of the money contracts and thinking that you're just going to print money and get 100% bangers because we do that. I want you to focus on taking all your money off the table at 30% and moving your stop up to 10%. Period. If you don't want to, that's fine. It's your own money. Okay, this is not financial advice. This is suggestions. Okay. But at the end of the day, if you want to grow your account, do it for 2 months. Put your stop at 10%. Perfect your entry. Ask me, hey, privately, or if you don't want to do it in chat, hey, is this a good stock for me to get in? Is this a good contract to get in? Okay, we're doing this whole, intraday weekly or intraday EDU stuff where we're throwing out the tickers and saying, hey, what about this stock? Give me the trade plan. Give me your risk levels. There's a reason why you do that. Because number one, you should do that every time you get into a trade. You should define your risk, find out where you need to get in, right? So if I'm going to try to short this stock, short this market, right? Where am I looking? Okay, there's the upper trend line, right? All right, I'm bearish. Okay, well, I want to take puts where? Right off the trend line. And where's my risk? Well, a 5-minute close above it or a 10% stop if I have a small account. Well, if you have a small account, you're like, well, shit. Well, you need to make for damn sure your entry is on the fucking line. You don't get in here and you don't buy if you're up here on this line at 59.40 and you're looking for puts. You don't buy 5,900 puts. It's stupid. Okay, if it's too early in the day and it's in the morning, you don't play. You just don't play. You wait. You have to wait until those contracts are affordable for you. Okay? And that's just the name of the game. Okay? And if you can wait, what are you going to do? You're going to increase your patience. Okay? And you're going to have more discipline. Number 2. Okay? And number 3, you're going to learn because you're going to be watching price action. You don't learn as much as in the trade as you do watching the trades. Okay? So, small accounts. Okay? This is your time to grow. All right? Don't expect 100%, 200, 300% banger on tickers other than SPX or QQQs. Okay? If they happen, great. Awesome. Okay? But don't expect it. Okay? If you see 30% on the knock ticker, take it all off. It's a great return. You do that 5 out of 10 times with a 10% stop loss, you're making money. Okay, you do that 2 months in a row. Now you're at 10 grand. Okay, then we can adjust the strategy slightly. Okay, that's how I want to, that's what I want to really like focus on with you guys because, we're going to find the trades. That's not the problem in here, right? We're going to define our risk. You guys hear me all the time. What do I say? Okay, I like puts here at 59.40 with a stop loss above 59.42 or whatever, right? Wherever I set the risk at, right? Oh shoot, they shot it, they broke trend line. Okay, I like calls with a stop loss below this, and so we'll take it at 39.2. That's 6 points of risk. That's not a setup for the small accounts. For larger accounts, yeah, you can take that. Structurally, you can take it, and if you can afford, a 20% drawdown, yeah, and a stop hunt, that's fine, right? So, it's really important to understand this stuff. Any questions on this? I promise you, if you focus on these types of stuff, and you have a small account, you'll grow it. But if you're hot dogging, finding your own tickers and being like, oh, I'm gonna do my own trade, and I'm so good, I got this idea and I got that idea, and and you're missing all the alerts some of the alerts that we're talking about on live, and you're not taking them, and you're hot dogging, thinking you're Tommy Tough Nuts, and you and your little $2,000 account is gonna sit there, and you're gonna make this like big trade off your idea. Good. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck doing that. I've been doing this a long fucking time. I know what stocks go. Okay, and I know what stocks don't. So I'm not trying to be a dick, but I'm just being honest, right? This week is going to be super patient, like beyond belief. I don't want to mess around, you know, chasing anything. I want to let things kind of set up. And if it's not there, it's not there. If we don't take a fucking trade Monday, we don't take a trade. It's going to be low volume, most likely. Most likely. Okay. I prefer to see what the market is going to set up and give us, and then do some nice scalping, right? Lock in 20, 30%. Get out, relax, enjoy the week. It's Christmas, right? So it's a Christmas week. We don't need to be, trying to make 100K. Okay, 200K out of $1,000. Okay, can it happen? Fuck yeah, it can happen. Yeah, in July, me and my buddy Wyckoff turned. Well, we were each playing with roughly about. We were taking trades roughly between 2 to 6 grand, and in like when was it? What 4 days? We turned it into six figures. So each. It can happen, but this is not the week. You have to be aware of what the week is, what it presents, what it can do. I mean, this could be the week. I shouldn't say that. I don't want to be biased, but I just saying, like, typically this week is a week of low volume, not a lot of movement, and that's just the way it is, right? So let's take a look at the put to call ratio quickly. Okay. Anybody have an idea what this means? Hop on live. Anybody have an idea? Okay. All right. So this goes back to we'll go to 2020. Okay. Oh man. All right. Hang on a second. Hold on. All right, guys. Sorry, my son is having trouble falling asleep. I got my parents helping out. I guess there's hard to replace daddy. But anyway, sorry about that. He's struggling. He's a little overtired. Yeah. Okay. So this is the put to call ratio. And you can see every time that it gets up into this zone or shoots even higher, it's a great spot. So this is let's see here. So this when it shoots up here, so when this ratio gets up into here into this zone, that means there's a lot of puts, right? A ton of them, right? So we can see that right now, that typically, let's just say the median range would be, we can say it's right where it is, right here. Okay, we're kind of in the middle range, right? So when we do get down to these lower levels, like we were, when was this? Wednesday, the 18th on FOMC, it's very call heavy. Okay, this is very call heavy, right? This zone, but doesn't mean you're going to get a quick snap up. But, we're going to keep a closer eye on this because if it does start to press down and we get a squeeze or something this week and we get down here, it'll be juicy for a downside swing. Conversely, we also are in a neutral zone, so we could still get more pressure to the upside. What's interesting is we're in a neutral spot with the put to call ratio. However, we have the VIX, and the VIX is actually it's elevated pretty good. So it's just something I like to take a look at. All right, so entry strategies. All right, let me pull something up quick. I'm going to pull it up. Does everybody know how to enter in off of through a contract chart? Can I get some? Does everybody know how to get into through contract charts here? Like what they're looking at? Okay. All right. Let's take a look at SPX here. Let me just make sure here. Or hold on a second. All right. You said, yeah, contract chart. Yes. All right. Let's play around with this. This will be fun. Because I do this pretty fast and what the heck just happened? Let me just make sure. Pull it up. Okay, can everybody see my Weevil screen? Everybody can see that. Perfect. All right. So I don't have any money in this account. I just literally use it for looking at contracts. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, let's do this. Should we do SPX or let's do a regular tick. Okay, let's do anybody throw a name that they're interested in looking at right now. Anyone? We could do SPX, that's fine too. RTGI sound, okay. All right. All right. Okay, let's take a look at the weekly calls. All right. So let me do this. Okay. I'm going to pull up the chart. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the contracts. I'll do, let me do this actually. So pull this up. All right, pop this over. Okay, so on sound, pop over the chart. Change the screen quick for a second before we hop over. Okay. So now we're looking at sound quick. Okay. So what we're going to do is, okay, we're saying, okay, where do we want to get in? Okay, we like these calls because, only bags is dropping the flow, and there's good option flow hitting the tape, and the stock looks good. Looks like it can push it higher. Okay, so where do we want to get in? Okay, well, it kind of looks a little challenging to get in on daily unless they bring it down to this level. So we can see that there's a volume support. So I'm going to go through the process that I like to do. Okay, everybody has their own way. This is my style. So, okay, there's a level right there. There's a volume support right here. So I'm going to draw a level. Okay, 1958, we'll call it. And then I'm going to go down to the 4-hour. Okay. Stop me if you guys have questions. Okay, if you're not following. Okay, so there's a good spot right there. That's a really nice area here of support. There's really not a lot up here. So you don't want to be searching for levels. You just want to make sure that you have multiple taps on higher time frames. You could say this is one too, but this one's not that great. Okay, so then on the bottom side, below, we have this is pretty strong support there. And then underneath that, really that's not supportive that much, but this is supportive right here. All right. Okay. So you see my chart. There I charted it out. It's pretty simple. And then on the upside we have to clear 2308, okay, to see the high. And the high is, what's this high all time? It's $24, 2408. Okay. 2408. All right. So you chart it out. Okay. Very simple. And on a stock that is moving to make new all-time highs, you have to use the daily and the 4-hour. I wouldn't recommend anything else. Then you go to the contract chart. Now we're on the contract chart here. Okay. And move this window. Okay. Let me take this screenshot here. I'll post it in chat. Copy. Paste. Okay. And then go back. Okay. So there's the chart. And now we're going to say, okay, well, I'm looking to get in. All right. Now, if I'm looking at that chart, right, it shows support at 15.15, then it shows support at $18, right? And then it says it shows a pushing. Then we got the 4-hour, the 4-hour EMA in structure in the 13 sitting right at another support level at 1968. So what we want to do is say, okay, on Monday, if this thing does a liquidity grab and pushes down off the morning, $2 down into that 1968, what contracts am I going to buy? So now I'm going to take a look at the $22 calls. Okay, they've got solid volumes, 8,000 open interest, over 3,500 volume. Okay, if that open volume or open interest increases, we're going to take a look at this. Okay, so now we'll chart this. Okay, and here's my option chart. Why do I have all this? It's weird. I don't like this. All right. Okay, over here is my time in sales. This is the tape that I like to watch on the right. Let me dial some of this stuff out of here. There, that's more like it. I don't know why it switched it, but okay, so 5-minute chart for me is what I like to look at, my options. shoot. There we go. Okay, everything's set up the same for me. I have my 200 EMA in yellow. I have my 13 EMA in dark blue, and in light blue, I have the 21. That's how I just like, and then I have my volume. Everything's the same. I don't change anything in terms of structure and the way everything's looking. Okay, so looking at this chart, what are we going to do? Okay, well, we could do a couple things. Okay, if they drive it down, so you can see it's holding an uptrend, right? And as we know, and okay, we know that this is a supportive level right here. Whoops, why did it do that? Hold on, sorry. Let's do a level. Okay. Now we have a trend line here. All right. That's a support, right? Because you can see price shot up, rejected, came down, shot up. This is not really a support here. It could be, actually. Actually, it is. Yeah, this is actually a support. Yeah, it would be right there. Okay, and then this, let's get rid of this. Horizontal line. Zoom in right on the button. There. Okay, so this is no different than what Wyckoff does, right? But what I like to do is I like to look at the chart, the option chart, and then I like to look at the stock chart, right? And I know my levels, and I'm like, all right, where would I get in? Right? Now we know, right? There's a lot of resistance right here. Okay, that's a resistance. This is the range, and it's starting to break out. But with these contracts, you can look left and you can see based on the history where it will most likely get rejected. And that's the crazy thing about options is this will get rejected. If it pushes up, it will get rejected here. It's really, really odd, but it's also pretty fascinating too. So you can see rejection here, support, support, support. And then we can say, okay, let's take another line. And above us, I would like to sell these contracts at 2.50, right? So you can see this, right? Now, if say, for example, okay, let's think about this logically. If this gives us, say it pushes down into just underneath the 13 and creates support on sound at that 1968 level that I posted in chat, right? That's a pretty good spot on the 4-hour that could, gather some momentum back up off of. Where do you think the options for this chain will be? My guess is it'll probably be sitting between 1.48 to, you could even call it here too. Like this is not a bad spot. Like you could even say that this is possibility for it to bounce right there. So between 1.48 and 1.35 to even as low as 1.25 on the option chain. So when you start your day and you're like, I love this fucking stock. OB loves it. I love it. Everyone loves it. This thing's going to fucking go, right? Well, market opens up and what do? Well, what you could do is one thing, right? You could set bids in on the option chain at 1.25 before the market opens, guys, right? Because if they flush it down and it hits your bid, it's on support on the option contract and it could bounce very easily. I did this on what was it? I forget the name of it. LRCX, right? I'll give LR, and so LRCX, I put bids in off support, and the option was at when it was in pre-market, the option said it was 0.98 to 0.88. That was the spread. I put bids in on support at 0.66. They got sorry, I bumped the button. Guess what the low of the contract does? It was 0.64. So those bids got picked up, and as soon as I opened them up, I was up 20%. Like, no, 18%. It was like 18%. So, any questions on that? So you can chart it, right, up and down based on previous pricing history on the 5 minute is what I like to look at. Yeah, you can do the hourly. It's fine too. But the hourly looks the same. Position, level. You can see here. You can clearly see rejection, support, rejection. Like these are perfect levels I drew off the 5 minute, right? And then even up here, this is probably where it can go, and then it will get rejected, right? And then the high of day is 4.0, right? So yeah, you like this? Cool. Yeah. So we can do more of this stuff. It's so like the thing is, you guys, is this is more of it's like a very patient way of trading and really strategic. This is how I like to trade. I know where I'll talk more about it and start doing it more live, and it's because like a lot of times I'm doing so much stuff. I just like am flying around throwing bids in off my supports, and then I know where like the stock is, right? But it doesn't just like oh well, you know what? I'm gonna buy, I'm gonna set bids at 1.25, and and then I'll be good, No, that's not how it works, Like you have to watch the price. So step one, you better this is all about preparation, right? And as the market opens, you can pull up this contract chart and take a look at it and say, wow, okay, this thing's in supply. I don't really want to pay this. It's rejected 3 times here, 4 times. Why would I want to pay that? I'll get smoked. No, you know what? I'll come back to this stock later. You know what? I'll think about this stock later. Let me go look at Microsoft. Okay, then I go search or ARM because I saw ARM get some nice flow coming into close. Okay, let's take a look at the options on them. What kind of volume were they getting? Hold on a second.
So I actually trade on Webull.
Hey, Bags, can you take over for a minute? My ex just showed up
Look, I got you. Don't worry.
and to pick up my son. She's like way early by like 2 hours. All right,
Go
I'll be
ahead.
right back. I'm
Take
sorry.
care of whatever you need to, brother. So I actually trade on Webull, guys, and I just posted a picture of like my setup, right? Like, so I get the the options chain in the top left, and then I have positions and all that good stuff on the bottom left. But in the middle, I have the you see the baby chart that's down next to like the ladder and the turbo trader. Anyways, that's actually linked to the contracts chain. So whenever I select it, it's actually showing me the options chart. And if you see, I actually have the time and sales in there as well. So I click back and forth between that. So that way, it kind of allows me to also see like potential levels of support and resistance on the premiums, because guys, premiums have ranges. Um, let's see here. Anyone have questions? All right. Well, I guess let's let me look. Let me see what so he was looking at at sound. Oh, actually, he was looking at arm now. Take a look at what pops up in arm as far as low. So it looks like the 138s weekly's got some premium. 140s weeklies as well. Let's take a look at those 138 weeklies on the premium chart. Now, what I would suggest as well, guys, is like especially when during the time that the 33 is doing the education is, you guys should be popping and like I follow along on my charts. Every chart he's going through, I actually while I'm watching his screen, um I also pull that up. But also, obviously depending on which broker that you guys trade on, but most brokers do also have like when I used to trade on TOS, I also had that set up where I would have the options chart and time and sales and all that good stuff on it. So I would be suggesting that you're tweaking kind of your immediate setup, but also follow along on your on the options charts, so you can kind of get used to that, right? Like, and it's going to be a very similar technical analysis that you're doing on the underlying. You'll be surprised as to how much it works on the premium on the premium chart as well. Yes, that is yes, that is all. I linked everything, Cream. So as soon as I click on the contract, it goes everywhere. Everything is so that way, if I need to get out, I'll use the turbo trader in the center, and I'll flatten. Or if I want to cancel like any limit orders, I'll just do that and then flatten, and so buy ask bid whatever. But I also use the DOM too. But in the said like I said, I have that options chart, and then in the time and sales, I'll click back and forth and just kind of take a look and see what is hitting the tape on the contracts. Anyone else have questions? Did anybody want to see any look at any ticker uh, flow wise and anything basically? Because there's a couple besides the um, besides sound RGTI that I had my eye on. I like it. I really, really am liking AMD a lot, like a lot. um, which is one of the tickers that I think that um that I'll be keeping my eye on. And honestly, I hope he gets a little bit of a flush and allows um for a cheaper buy. But obviously AMD, Avgo, Nvidia, but BB. All right. Actually, that's a pretty big stick on the daily. I saw BB somewhere in the last couple of days, and I can't remember where. The ticker is all right. So some pretty decent premium in the $4 calls for March at which are pretty inexpensive still. They got 168,000 in premium. Like this ticker doesn't get a ton of premium. $5 calls for the $5 calls for January of 2027 even we're getting a little we're getting hit a little. Now these contracts are very cheap. So I definitely would be when I trade contracts like this, or tickers like this, um, I tend to buy multiple strikes. Okay, let's just for argument's sake say right, like when looking at that daily, right, like you if you have that chart right now in front of you, 325 looks like it would be a pretty decent level of support. You got those two top wicks on that where that basically that if you want to call it a bull flag broke out. So if it and which is almost 50% of that candle, it would almost be a 50% retrace, right? But anyways, the way that I would be looking at it, especially if you're going to play, let's just say you're going to play weeklies, right? As it's pulling back to that area, I would probably be playing. I mean, honestly, let's just for argument's sake say your position sizing is $1,000, right? I would actually you can buy in the monies and still be really inexpensive. And the way that I do it is like so if it's $1,000 position, right? Like I would do like 5 to even 700, depending on on your threshold and like risk threshold, right? Like me, I probably do 500 like for the $3, and then like 250 to 300 on the 3.5s, and then the difference at the 4s. And then basically what you're doing is that you're going to use that three. And look, you don't have to do three strikes, right? Like because you think about it, if you're buying a contract that's like 5 cents, call it 4 cents, it goes to you're pretty you go to 3 cents, you're pretty much 25% underwater. That's why the dollar amount is so little, right? But you can just do like in the money and then the first strike, like the at the money strike. And if you do it like a 70% 30% ratio, you play it where you're managing the closer to the money strike first. So again, you got $1,000 position, and you go 700 for the $3 strike as it's moving up. The whole point of it is you want to try and get your investment and profits off the table, as soon as you can, right? So you take it off the $3 and then you're letting the $3.50 strike. Let that simmer, basically. Let that be your profit. Like I do this all the time. all the time, and I'll grab three strikes sometimes. It really depends on the ticker, momentum, volume, things like that, right? And anybody else have something else they want to look at? You're welcome, man. Owen? RGTI. All right. I love RGTI, by the way. I love RGTI. SOUN. Um, QUBTS. I think it's like I have a whole bunch of tickers that I'm basically watching that kind of fit that theme. Like I played uh I got hoodwinked on sound on Friday. Um, did not see anything on MU, but I got hoodwinked on sound on Friday. I had the $20 calls at an average of 40 cents. I ended up on the way down, ended up flattening when I saw that I was down like 30%, like almost immediately. But it turns out I got filled at like 17 cents. If I would have known, I would actually probably held it, maybe even added. They actually ended up going to like $1.80. But anyways, I'm gonna if you guys somebody reminds me either later today or tomorrow morning, I'll give you a list of a couple other tickers. But yeah, let's see, RGTI, pretty similar here. I have a lot of different alerts set up on it. I'll post it here. Thank you. But no, I didn't catch sound. I ended up selling that. I ended up getting. I did catch Avgo, QBTS, uh, and Tesla. Those are the ones that went multi for me on Friday. But those are all the different levels that I have that I kind of want to see. So on Monday, basically, I'm going to be, my top watches right now from are RGTI, Sound, and AMD, and I'm basically just going to be watching. I'd love the first level that I actually like on if you pull up the hourly on RGTI. So it's basically broken um, over this trend line, right? So I I actually would like to see a false breakdown. I'd like to see the area around like 9, 12 to wherever the 21 is. The 21 right now will probably be above 9 on Monday, and that's where I want to long. I I've seen lots of bullish flow on it. Let's see what was hit. Weekly $10 calls were smacked for 818,000 in the last 30 minutes of trading on Friday. They got 1.5 million in total premium. So those were hit at an average of 80 cents. Make note of the average price that the whale got in, right? So point 0.8 is their price, and they got 818,000 in premium for it. So that gives you kind of an idea. 9 out of 10 times, you're going to be able to get a discounted price, unless this thing just gaps up, But 9 out of 10 times, they just. I mean, I've seen I've seen them go 50% red, you know, and they average down. They buy more. So there's as long as the as long as it seems pretty evident that they're still in, like I play contracts that way. But I definitely, like I said, between the 912 to like call it 895 area is I want to see how price is reacting. All right. Uh, and can anybody tell me and unmute yourself or or type in the chat, right? Like what I mean by how price is reacting.
Oh,
Go ahead. Is that you? You back?
yeah, sorry. I was like, I got my ex and her mom showed up unexpectedly, not on schedule to pick up my son. It was not. Anyways, all right.
But hold on. So the answer to what I was saying is basically, I watch price on shorter time frames as well, right? Like 3, 10 minute, and so on and so forth. So I'm gonna look at um what the volume candles are, and what the candles are showing me, right, on those smaller time frames. So for argument's sake, if it starts to hit that zone, right? I mentioned 912 to 895. As it starts to get into that zone, and I'm starting to see the volume come in on, say, the 3 minute chart, right? Then which is larger volume candles and the preceding candles, and price is holding, then I'm liking it, right? Just because there's a good chance that that's going to be the zone where it gets bought up. And so, or if it starts to give us like down wicks, right? Like, so basically, the selling pressure is kind of moving down, right? It's pulling off. So, like that's what I mean when I say it's like I want to see how price reacts when it comes to that zone. And then the short of it really is, if my thesis is that okay, it's being bought up, it should hold, I long that. Um, if it loses that price, I'm out. Like, and I'm gonna be, 3 minute close below the 21 on in that area. That's where, I'll just kind of reassess. Right, it's really gonna tell me it's gonna go to the next level lower. So, make sense, guys? All right, go ahead. Go ahead, third year.
All right. What'd you cover with them so I don't like trace steps back over?
Um, I went over pulled some flow for OG, and also just kind of how I was looking at RGTI, right? Like kind of like they wanted to kind of see like levels or that I was going to be looking at it, and so kind of how I would be buying, etc.
Nice.
Which contracts were hit on that, because the $10 weeklies on that got hit for 900,000, almost 900,000 right before close, and 1.5 million total premium for the day.
The 9.5s you said, or no, $10 you said. Okay, I see them.
$10 weeklies.
All right. So and you're saying your strategy is based on price action.
Yeah, because what I'd like to see basically is on the hourly, it looks to has broken. So the first thing that I'm going to be looking at is, okay, when it's testing that trend line, right? If the trend line holds, I long. If it breaks, then the next levels that I'm looking at is going to be roughly around the 910 to like call it 895 area, which is essentially going to be the 1 hour 21. So
Perfect.
I want to see how price, if it breaks the trend line, I want to see how price reacts as it's getting to that level.
Also, you guys, when you like, I don't know how many people have their Weeble set up or whatever they're using TOS, but what you can do too is, which helps a lot, is say for example, like that RGTI is your top watch, right? And it's a $10 call. So let's just like you know the hourly setup, right? We'll take Discord, switch over the windows there. So he's got, support here roughly, would you say 925? And then you got overhead resistance on the wicks here at 984. And then you also have, upper supply just slightly above that. You also have another level like at 1010. And a little lower than that. But you have a supply zone, right? So it needs to break above, in my opinion, it needs to break above 1012. And then it can move to 1096. And if it breaks 1096, it squeezes to high today. Thank you. I don't know why it clicked me out. I said, so what you guys can see here is you have your levels on your hourly chart for the actual stock. Okay, and then this contract chart, you can see that there was that 8,600 volume right into close on the contracts, right? And then also, what else do you see? It's consolidating. It's like it's building a nice consolidation range here. So you can see that this contract chart. So over here, in this area, this became resistance. This 0.70 level on this contract. It came down to 0.20, then shot up. It broke it, came back down, back tested it, held it. And this is a 5-minute chart, and it's holding it constantly, tapping, and buying up really aggressively. So, but what's interesting is this chart is sitting at or this contract actually right now is sitting at resistance. Let me just draw a trend line. All right, and do another one here because you can see here there's multiple taps. See tap, 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 tap. So for me, I'm not even interested in buying this contract unless it breaks above 105 and holds like and becomes supportive. Even like you could even wait till 115, the break of 115, because once it breaks 115, that's when the real move comes. Like the real move is going to come and it's going to shoot up straight to 1.54, right, roughly right there, give or take, right? And you can see, if you look back, you can see there's this nice gap here. You can see there's really no resistance behind this option chart above 1.54, roughly, or sorry, 1.15. Then it's going to shoot up to 1.54, and it'll probably get stuffed maybe at 1.18. So, like looking at this is how you know where to sell, where you should be selling, and where you should be buying. It's pretty simple, right? You look at the actual chart, right? The underlying. So you say, okay, let's flip back over. Okay, where would I want to buy here? Okay, I'm going to buy. Change windows quick. There it is, right there. Okay, so I'm like, all right, I know based on the option chart that this stock, for me to actually get a good move on the premium, it has to break 1009 and hold it. If it doesn't, it's just going to chop in this range, right? And if you look at the range, where's that range? Well, it's right here. Change windows, right? It's this range. It's going to chop right here between 0.70 and 1.0, a 30-cent range. Who the hell wants to play that? I mean, yeah, that's like what, 20%, but still, if you buy 10 contracts, but like, why you don't really, like, to me, I'm not buying this thing at 0.90. It's at resistance. I'd rather actually wait to see if it breaks 1.5 and holds, then get in, right? Because that would line up with a $10 break on the chart. And then it can see near high of day, which would shoot this up to 1.5 to 1.8. But you can see anybody playing this range here, unless they're buying the bottom of the premium range, they're getting smoked. Every one of them, every person in here, they're fucked. So I would, in the morning, I'd be setting a bid in at 0.70, right? That's what I would do. I'd set some orders on this particular contract at 0.70 and see if they get picked up. And then you set a 20% stop, or if you have the small account, 10, 15% stop under that. You know, the lowest it could go is 0.65, I could see. Here, you have a little wick down and support there and there. But yeah, I would like to see it pop down. That would mean, based on theta over the weekend, that this thing could, you know, open up flat, push down to the hourly 21 at $9. You get picked up at 0.70, and then if it rips, you're in at the bottom, and then you can cruise. Does that make sense? That's how I look at it. Okay. Does that make sense? Anybody?
I actually would like to try and get it below that 0.7. The way that this moves, like I think that there's a shot to get in the in the 0.55 to 0.6 range, and that gives you a cushion. I mean, obviously, you know, it's the danger there is that you're buying in downward momentum, but I just think that like I've traded this a few times already, and it likes to uh, it likes to dip before the rip, right? Like so,
Like
I
most
think that
stocks.
yeah. But like I think I think it trades very similar to like Palantir actually, or even a U, you know.
U is actually in a decent setup too.
Yeah, I
Howard.
was looking at that the other day. I think as long as 22 holds, that's a really good spot to take some long term contracts.
Oh shit! You know what this is too? This is a. It's actually part of an EDC pattern on a broadening wedge top. I'll post it. Does anybody know what I mean by that? Okay, this one right here. Let me see if I can find it. It's basically where it goes like this. Let me just make sure everybody can see my screen. So this is Unity. This pattern does this. So it goes, shoots up, down, up, taps, goes. Typically, it goes like this. It'll go. It hits this level, and it comes back down to a 50% retrace, and then it breaks out. Which is interesting, is they squeeze it above it. So I don't think that still invalidates the actual pattern. But this is a bullish breakout pattern. You got 1 tap, 2 tap, 3 tap, bottom, top, 50% retrace of the range of the wedge, and then it goes. It just offers like a really good setup here. So I like Unity actually a lot here. Anybody else have any questions about the premiums and all that good stuff? LRCX, I love this stock. This thing's beautiful. This thing's going to be over $100 before June. You guys, I posted some flow on this. They're sitting in the $96 calls for June. You have a small account. This is a layup. They're going to go fill this gap. I bet you they fill this gap off earnings, guys. Earnings January 22nd. $96 calls got 6 million in premium, or sorry, $94 calls for June, got 6 million in premium, and all of it stuck. I think it was all of it, most of it stuck. And I love this stock. I love the setup on it. It's just trading at the bottom of the range here. It could see more weakness, but I mean, the contracts are like 2.5, something like that. That's so small. Like, that's nothing. If they break this out, those things are going to do 5x minimum. This is a top watch for me, actually, this week. I think this week I wouldn't mind, like, nibbling in on some swings and just kind of chilling and then focusing on SPX. MU, do you guys remember where I said MU had to bounce? Check this out. Look at this. I told you guys, if MU broke that level, that low, it's fucking toast. I like it now. I like this a lot now. I think this is in a good spot to get a really nice move up. You have earnings coming up in March. So, June out of the money calls would be actually a really good, nice. You are? Really nice. Nice, dude. Off what? What was your strategy off that trend line tap? This big boy? I mean, this is a big deal there. What was your strat, OG? Was it off this trend line? Bottom of your box? Oh, Yeah. Yep. Perfect. Yeah. The wick underneath the trend line lined up perfectly, and then it held. It kind of did a little liquidity grab, actually. Look at this buying. This is actually good value. Let's see what the earnings were. Oh, they had just slight miss, dude. Like barely missed. $5 million miss on a flat EPS. Oh my god, not even that big of a deal. Um, this will be interesting. I'll keep an eye on this one. I would like to add to it a little bit lower. I'm not going to chase this up here at 90. Maybe I will. It's not even that big of a deal. Thing was at 115 or 110 like last week. So I'll put an alert here on the close or 50% retrace of yesterday's candle and the close of the previous day candle, just above it. Set an alert, and then I'll take that long all day. And then if they pop Thursday's high, then it can actually shoot up to 97 or 95.72. Yep, perfect. I'll throw my line in there too. I'm gonna actually drop it down there. Yeah. Okay. Last piece. Oh, yeah, it's a little chaos this morning. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So entry strategies, taking profits and stop loss strategies, we covered all that. If you guys have any questions regarding some of this stuff, just send a message. Happy to help. Not a problem. And then uh, let's talk about being a mental giant. It's Christmas, and we cover this topic all the time. I just feel like it's really important um, to talk about because coming into holidays, we want to protect our capital, number one, and most importantly, we want to have a good holiday season. You don't, it's better to not trade. You're in February 115. All right, I like it. Um, I just want to cover this one stock before I get into this. I'm going to long this stock ASAP Monday. Totally forgot about this. I had it on my list actually. This stock is going to get longed for me, and I'll alert it in the channel. I got to figure out which ones I want to long on this, but I might just go like out to the 250s for June. It's in a perfect spot. It back tested everything. It looks good. Looks really nice. I don't really want to swing much over Christmas. I really just like, if anything, it's going to be like like Tesla's on the top of my list for stocks that I want to trade. So it'd be like because it's holding that 13. I like HON, and then I'll probably trade RGTI with you guys because that's a lot of flow. Is it RGTI? Yeah, RGTI. I'm not. I'll trade sound if it comes down to like a good level, but it's a little extended for me on the hourly. Like I'm not messing around with this at all. I'm not trying to chase anything. I don't really care if I miss a trade. It's not a big deal to me. Everybody and their mother's probably going to trade this or chase this thing. So I'll set a stop hunt alert above the 21 on this support level and see what happens. UNH, other thing I want to talk about. UNH is actually, even though the money position is not very bullish, is it the 4 hour? No, the daily. Yeah, the daily's loaded up. Yes. So this daily actually is loaded up on the RSI. Really interesting setup. So, um, it's obviously had a lot of bad news. It's in a nasty downtrend, but that doesn't mean you can't take it for a day trade, right? This thing could get fun. I mean, it's 25 points away from the 13 on the daily, and the RSI is loaded up. It's got an inverse head and shoulders set up perfect. It's already broken out. So if this thing kind of, let's just say it wicks down to, 494, I'll set an alert there. 50% retrace onto the bottom of the volume shelf. I'll look to buy this and see if it holds and see if flow is supportive. Obviously, we have our oil names. Let's check Nike. Nike, interesting situation going on here. It wicked all the way up there in pre-market, came down, and the buy volume was still good. And they had a massive beat. This is a long. I haven't checked flow, but I bet you they're hitting long-term stuff. Like, look at the volume in the bottom, guys. This thing shot up. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. Look at where this thing shot up. This is what I'm talking about. This is so funny. You talk about boxes, OG boxes. OG, bottom of your box, bro.
Actually, even the 77 weekly's got some premium, dude. On Nike.
On Nike. This thing looks nice. Let's look at where the hell is it? There it is. Look at the volume. Okay, you guys see me do this all the time. So, do you see any sell volume on the 4 hour? Nope. No. Right? I mean, they beat. Pretty good beat, almost a 2% rev beat, 16% EPS surprise beat. That's not bad.
Yeah, I think that this sells more to do with that that's just when the market dumped.
Liquidity grab for sure. This is a liquidity grab to a T. When's their next earnings? March. So I mean, this is another one. Like you could take. See, the premiums are so jacked up right now on this. You could take what is this, March, Thursday. You could take June $100 calls, and I bet you they're pennies on the dollar. And this thing could pull a Disney, right? What do you mean? What do I mean by a Disney? This right here. Consolidation for a long time at the low. Right? Consolidation right here. Look at it. Just didn't want to break. Low, 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 pops up, drops down, low, low, and then it gets going. And look at this move. This thing moved from $85 from one earnings report. Look, one earnings report, it was at 84. The next earnings report, it shot up all the way to 117. Okay, Nike's
yeah, those
in the same.
Junes are $1.13, and they got 8,093 open interest and 1,000 volume on Friday.
I mean, this is a pretty safe. This is like what I'm talking about, guys. Like, look at Disney, right? That's a 40-point move. No, 50-point. No, what is it? No, 35-point move in, from one earning report to another. Now, if you're swinging this is a nice trade. Like, and you don't have to stress yourself out about day trading. Look. Now, if we get a similar move, say a $30 move, you're at 107. Where's 107? Well, what do you know? Right at the top of the trend line at 109. Very similar. Look at this. There's a trend line because these tap, came down. But if you look at the 8 hour, see this trend line, tap there. This trend line can go. What's this report? So if we draw over this report, roughly 95 to max I could see is 108. If you get that kind of a move, a $20 move on June contracts before March or at March, those contracts are going to go 4x. The hundreds will. They'll go to 400 a piece, 500 probably, most likely, yeah. And then if you leave some runners through the thing, I mean, this thing could be, back at 125 really quick into the summer. You just, they're beating earnings. Like, it looks like they've kind of got their shit together with this new guy they brought on, or old guy they brought back, I should say. But this looks very constructive. Look at how much price is just consolidating here. This looks a lot to me like Disney down here, and then break out, right? Down here and then breaks out. That just to me looks really nice. So let's get into Mental Giant. Okay.
Those Nike contracts that you're talking about though, like
Yeah.
when before the gap down in September, they were trading at 578. So if you adjust, I mean, I think you're hitting it right on the button there. If you're adjusting for the Greeks, that like $4 a contract in that move is well within range, maybe even a little more.
And so you brought up actually a good point. Thanks, Bags. It's like, so he was just like, well, I kind of nailed the basically how the premiums would move. You guys, would you want to get to that point where you don't even have to look at the premium chart? Obviously, zeros are a whole different ballgame, but I'm talking like get to the point where you can say, okay, well, all right, we're down here on Nike. Okay, I bet you the $100 calls are at 1 point whatever, and they could move up to 4x by this time. Like that just comes with experience of understanding premium. You are not a chart trader, you guys. You don't trade charts. You're trading money, right? You're trading the premium of value because you trade options, right? The chart is just a tool to help you trade the premium, right? And as you get more comfortable understanding the range and where your risk is, you'll understand like, hey, I don't think this option contract can go from 1.15 to 10 by March. I don't think that's going to happen. But it could go to 1.15 to 3 by February. That's a nice move, right? And I'll take that. So then what happens is you're starting to build, logic and risk management. You're not holding for hope. You're not saying to yourself, where should I sell? Right? You're looking at it reasonably like, well, this is a good spot to sell. I'm going to sell it there. You're starting to learn how to trade the premium range, buy it at the low, sell it near the high, and just keep doing it over again. A good friend of mine, he just trades leaps. He does not trade anything other than leaps, you guys. Like that's it. So what he'll do is he'll take a look at the option chart for Apple, the Apple 250s, we'll call it. And he's been trading the Apple 200s and the Apple 250s for 2 years on leaps. Think about that. That's all he did, right? And then there became a point where it broke the range and he held. And now look, they're in the money. Isn't that pretty cool, right? So there's a lot of different ways you can make money, right? So now let's get into Mental Giant. Okay. We have Christmas coming up, and the markets are in a place where we're coming into holidays, and we have it could go up or down. We really don't have like extreme high conviction because there's support, but there's also a lot of weakness, right? And so we're going to find out here in the next week or two what the direction it really wants to go. We got a couple of good stocks that we want to look. So really the main focus is this week, no hot dogging. Let's lock in some gains, make some money so we can, enjoy the holidays, come in cruising into the new year with some confidence, right? We don't need to be, trying to make 100 grand trades, here in this week when we can just easily, lock in 20, 30%, put our 10% stop in and start to build some momentum coming into the new year so we can have a renewed, refreshed mindset and a good outlook, okay? And it's really important, okay? I don't care if you got a $500 account. You can do that. You can take a $500 account and you can turn it into $700 by the new year. Okay, that's good. That's great. Okay, you can do that. That's realistic. You can do that time and time again, managing your risk and being picky. Don't force it. I do really want to give a shout out to OG. I am so fucking proud of you, buddy. Like, you know, I've known you for I don't know how many years now, and we've been through it all. And dude, I want to cry. I'm so proud of you, man. You have put in the work, and I think 2 weeks ago or last week, whatever week it was, we started oh, um, the uh, the challenge where I throw the ticker out, and then we go through the system. You identify your key levels, you identify the hourly trend line, and then you build the trade plan. Where your exits are, where your risk is, and where your profit targets would be, right? And then you said, I think the light's flickering, and ever since then, man, the momentum's great. You're doing fantastic. I could not be more proud of you. I think you get most improved in the whole room this year because of how you've stepped it up, and you didn't take no for an answer. It's been a rocky year, and I know you put your fucking heart into it, and that's what it takes. Like, this is the deal, guys. Are you a wolf or are you a fucking sheep? What do I mean by that? Like, OG is a wolf. He may be getting beat. He may have been getting beat up, right? The last year or two, but he's a fucking wolf, right? He's still in the battle. He's still clawing. He's not like, oh, poor me. Oh, I fucked up again. Oh, poor me. No, he gets in the fucking heat and he goes after it again. Like, think about the emotional turmoil you go through as a trader. If you're like to yourself, like, shit, the market dumped, I got fucked, I got stopped out, my stop, think about the emotional turmoil. And then all of a sudden, you're like 2 weeks later, oh shit, I lost again. Oh shit, this happened and all this happened. No, motherfucker, it was you. Like, yeah, you know what? A news scandal can happen, and you can get fucked. But you know what? You just keep going. You keep going, and you keep putting the foot in front of the other. You know what? You should say, "Oh, I got stopped out. Good. I'm that much closer to making a better trade. Oh, I got fucked on it. It's all right. Good. I'm that much closer to knocking down the next one. What do I got to improve? What do I got to learn? Why did I fuck up? Did I not have my stop in at 10%? Was I greedy? Was I hot dogging, trying to play 50 out of the money on some, Amazon calls or, Costco puts? Like, whatever it was. Like, are you hot dogging on weeklies? Thinking your premium's going to really shoot up if the stock moves $5? Like, come on. Are we being realistic here? Or are you a sheep? Right? Do you need to be held? Do you need your hand being held? Right? Obviously, certain situations are certain situations, and you can only you manage them the best you can. But at the end of the day, how you handle yourself and your reaction. Your reaction, guys, is everything. How do you react when you fail? It doesn't matter how you do when you do good. Nobody gives a fuck. The only thing that matters is how you do when you do bad. Huh? How do you do when you do bad? Do you cry? Do you ask for support and help? You know, 500. Hey, I need another 500. Hey, ma, I need another grand. You do that? You just sheep? She holding your hand. She's holding your hand. Yeah, I've got the book. I've read that guy's book. He's a fucking G. Yeah, it's a really good book. I haven't seen the podcast, but I got the book. I've read it like twice. It's really good. And that, yeah, it's like, I'm trying to be nice when I say this. Like, are you hungry? Like, are you trying to go and eat when you go and play the market? or you just want something to eat? Are you trying to get somebody to feed you, right? And then you're hoping to make money. Like it's like in college, right? You know, like when you're going into college and you're getting recruited, and like there's some guys, you know, they got food in the house, man. They got food in the house, right? They got food in the house. They're good, and they'll say, "Hey, can you make me some food?" They're not in college yet, but hey, can you make me some food? Oh, I'm getting a full ride. I'm good. You know, I'm good. And then, or are you the guy who's nobody's making you food? You got to go get that shit yourself. You got to make food yourself. You get up, you make your sandwich, and you eat it. You know, nobody's making your sandwich for you. There's a huge difference. That's the difference. You're in the market. You know, you're in a room where we're, you know, giving education, we're, you know, giving alerts. We have got a lot of great pros in here. You know, everybody's moving in the same direction. Um, and um, if you don't take advantage of the things that we're teaching, you're not going to go anywhere. Sorry, it's the truth. You're just going to do the same shit over and over. You're going to react the same way you do in the market in life. Everything is the same. It's all the fucking same. This is a test. Your shit you go through today in the market or tomorrow in the market, and the stuff you've been going through, it's a test. It's a test, guys. If you can't pass the fucking test to keep your shit together or to put your work in like OG has, you're going to do the same thing over and over again. And the test is going to keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. And you're going to be stressed and and then you're going to react. It's not going to change. No matter how good the alerts are, no matter how good the education is, it's not going to change. I'm sorry. Just not. I'm just being real. Okay? But if you want to change, we're here to help. We'll do whatever we can. Like I said, you just DM me. I'll spend as much time as I need to with you. I don't care. Okay? And uh, so, who are you? A wolf or a sheep? Okay? You know, being a wolf builds character, you know, and realizing the patterns that you react to is really important. You know what I mean? Do you always emotionally react a certain way to a certain situation? Or did you recognize that pattern last week and then stopped it? You know, when the market's going, there's a lot going on. There's price action, there's premiums, there's contracts, there's your brokerage. You know, there's the alerts. You got me and OB and guys on voice. There's a lot going on. Are you able to slow things down? Take your time, understand the process, what you're supposed to go through. What's the process, OG? What's your process? Alert comes out. What do you do? Anybody? I know OG's typing, but anybody can put it in there. Alert comes out. What do you guys do? Chart first. Perfect. What's second? Define your risk. Perfect. Then what's next? Don't just jump into a trade. Exactly. Then what? You're taking a trade right now. Chart first, risk, don't jump into a trade. What's next? You like the trade. Now what? All right, I'm gonna call something. All right, sage, D, wintergreen. Okay, you get into a trade. Now what? You like your risk, so you chart it. You find your risk. You get your levels, and you like the trade. You get in the trade. What's the next thing that happens? You're in the trade. Now what? And the trade starts to go green. What happens? Immediately, first thing. Well, that's not a confident. Hoopty. You're not supposed to throw a question, Mark. What if your stop loss? Yes, exactly. Exactly. Sage nailed it. Good. So you guys, like what's happening is like I'm trying to like I'm not trying to like quiz everybody, but like at the end of the day, yeah, you find your profit taking levels. You put your stop loss number one. Put the stop loss in because you could get a stop hunt and you don't need to be 50% down. Okay? Yes, you take your profits 10, 20% or whatever suits your account. Exactly. Boom. Right? So, what is happening here right now? And what's shifting in the room? Well, I'm forcing you guys, we're forcing you guys to what? Build your style, build your system, refine your system, understand your system, keep your system simple, right? And it's not easy. I'm trying to make you guys uncomfortable. It's too easy for everybody to sit on fucking voice, not say a damn word, and and then I see, well, I was read today. Like, what the fuck? Sorry, but like, come on. So, this 2025 it's gonna change lives. Everybody in here. Yep. You heard it. 2025 gonna change lives. Everybody's gonna have their own system. Everybody's gonna have, it's just like college, right? Unless you're a genius and you don't have to study for tests, um, you know, I'm not going to give you quizzes and like, hey, you got homework. Like, no, I don't give a shit about that. But intraday, intraday, like this should be college, like enjoyment. This is fun. We're hanging out. We're on voice. We're throwing gifts. We're making money. But we got to get you to that point, right? And how do we get you there? You got to have a system. You got to have you have to have good psychology in your head, right? That's why every Sunday we talk about being a mental giant, right? And we talk about different things. And then we talk about price action during the week. Okay? This is like going to a college class that's fun, right? And then now we're doing intraday charting and understanding your system and building the system up so then when you get the alert, you know exactly what to do. Or maybe you find a trade like OG did on a BA and you take it yourself, right? Because you have a system and now he has confidence in his system. He has confidence in his process. Why? Because he's passing these little fun tests, right? Oh, whoa, I get to draw a trend line and then I find my risk and what's my trade plan? Okay, I just draw a level here, I draw a level there, I see that. Oh, I don't know how to draw levels. Okay, well, let me just message cells or OB, and we'll figure it out. Okay, well, this is how I do it. Okay, now there I do it. Right. And so then, you're putting yourself out there, you're making yourself feel uncomfortable, which is good. Okay. Because if you want to pass this quote unquote test, right, that you keep facing the test of failing, you fail here, you fail there. Okay. Now I need to pass this next time. Okay, great. Oh, this is what I do. Now things are changing. You have a system. You enter. You define your risk. There's my end. Oh, I like this setup. I'm in. Oh, I'm up 15%. I'm out. Boom. Win. Next trade. Now, the only thing is now for OG is what? Oh, I don't think, yeah, it is. The next thing for OG is psychology. His technical trading is getting better. He's starting to build consistency. So now he needs to enter in he's going to get tested mentally, right? And he needs to pass those tests. And he is the only one who knows the test that he fails mentally, because he's the one listening to his head and the shit that goes on in his head. And God, we don't want to know what's going on in OG's head. But I tell you what, I think he's going to be doing just fine. And I will just say this: as you gain confidence and as you gain momentum, right? What do? Well, the best way to approach it is your mindset, OG, in my opinion, should be more of this: I'm only as good as my last trade. Yeah. Yeah, but you're only as good as your last trade. So all those good trades you made last week, well, forget about them. Forget about it. You got, hey, tomorrow's a new day, and the next trade's a new trade. And if you get stopped out, the next trade's a new trade. Doesn't change it. And remember, you need to shift. This is a big spot. There's 2 points to this. Number one, a good trader becomes a better trader when they shift their mindset from how much can I make to how much can I lose. A good trader becomes a better trader when they realize it's not about how much I can make, it's about how much am I willing to lose? Right? So now, when you think about it, now you're trying to build. Now OG is in the spot. He's in the fast lane. He's hitting the corner. He's starting to make good trades. He doesn't want to hit the sidewall, and be running around on the racetrack, feeling like he's on fire, screaming like he's on fire, and he's not on fire. But he needs to build himself up so he can get through the corner and hit his stride and keep going around the track. So what is he going to do? If OG makes a trade and he gets stopped out, he's not going to get pissed. He's not going to react. OG's going to be like, good job. I'm going to gain confidence because I executed my plan correctly. It's okay to stop out, even if the trade keeps going. I'm still proud of myself because I executed properly. The same reaction as when you make a good trade. Awesome, dude. And then you can celebrate. Tying emotion to success is more reinforcing. But then looking at, when you get stopped out, you should never, ever, ever look at a stop out as a loss. Really, you shouldn't. Because what you should be doing is looking at it as like, well, it's just a learning experience. Like, what did I miss? Right? Okay, I missed this. Okay, all right. Well, next time I'll make sure I don't miss that. Like, it's not like, because if you think about it, you win a trade, you lose a trade, you stop out. You win a trade, you lose a trade, you stop out. You win a trade, you win a trade, you win a trade, then you stop out. And then it's like, so like, why would you want to be like, oh, well, I just lost. Damn it, I lost this. No, it should just be like, you win a trade. Okay, I learned from this trade because I stopped out. Okay, I win a trade. Okay, great job. Thank God I stopped out. I saved so much money. Hell yeah, good job. It's not, oh, fuck, I lost again. Oh, man, I'm on a losing streak. 3 in a row. Oh, my God. then now you're bitching and moaning and you're reacting, and it doesn't. Nobody fucking cares. Like OB don't care. No, nobody really. I don't care. I want you to succeed. I'm telling you the mental psychology that it is required. It's not you kind of need it. No, 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 no. It's required in trading to be successful. You do not want to go through life on an emotional roller coaster for, oh, I want to trade, then I want to, oh, I'm the fucking greatest. Oh shit, I fucking lost. Oh my god, damn it, I suck, blah, blah, blah. Like what the fuck? Like, we're not 12 years old in here. Okay? Let's be adults. Let's be a wolf. Let's build momentum. You know, when you say you're gonna do something, like for example, I'll tell you one of the most powerful things you can do in life, right? The most powerful thing you can do in life is this. If I say, you know what, I'm gonna get up at 6 a.m. Set my alarm for 6 a.m. Boom, I get the fuck up. And you know what I'm gonna do after 6 a.m.? I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go do 10 push-ups. I'm gonna go do 10 squats, and then I'm gonna get in the shower, and then I'm gonna hit the computer, and I'll make sure that I'm on the computer 30 minutes before open and run through my charts. And you do that, boom, 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 boom. What happens? There's a lot of powerful shit that happens. Number one, your brain's like, oh man, I did what I said I was going to do. Then what happens is everything around you is supportive. Because if you say, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. and you sleep until 6:30, your brain don't give a shit what you say. It don't care. It doesn't. Do 6 a.m. today, and then you do it, and then the next thing you're like, nah, I'm good, I'm going to sleep in. Right? Well, if you keep doing that, you just not be very consistent and successful in life. It's just the reality of it. Like at all grades. The one thing that they have in common, whether it's athletes or successful people, is they're consistent. If they say they're going to do something, they fucking do it. Unless something comes in their way that they can absolutely not control. But they do it. And why do they do it? Because the more you honor your word, the more your brain believes it. And then the more your brain believes it, the more the universe and the world will conspire to give you what you want in life, right? And what you need, and create that momentum. You know, Conor McGregor talks about this a lot. It's like, you know, if you have that momentum, you know, it's like filling up your cup or your Gucci bag, right? All right, and if all right, I'm gonna get up at 6 a.m. Boom. All right, get up. All right, there's a little, you know, diamond in the Gucci bag. Okay, awesome. All right, and I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. And you do all that stuff. You're filling it up. You're filling your cup up. You're filling it up. You're filling it up. But the moment you go against your word, you're emptying your cup out. You're emptying it out. You're saying, no, my word doesn't mean that much. Your mind's like, you're bullshit. Your word don't mean shit, right? So think about that. You want to create that momentum and you want to keep it. Okay? You're being tested every single day of your life. You wake up, okay? Well, are you laying there like, shit, I don't want to get up. Oh, man. You know what? Here's the deal. Michael Phelps, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, they laid in bed too. And they're like, fuck this, I don't want to get up. But you know what else they did? They got the fuck up. That's the difference. They still got up and did it. Whether they didn't want to do it, everybody doesn't want to do it at some point in time. Nobody's perfect, and they're lying to you if they do. That they are. They're lying. Absolutely lying. Nobody does that. Everybody lays in bed at some point within the week or month, multiple times, and says, "Shit, God, I got to get up now. I'm tired." And they get up, or they don't get up, and that defines you. That defines who you are. It defines your grit, right? And you want to make it in this world, and I mean, in the market especially, you know, start taking a deeper look within yourself and look at the ways where you can improve other than the TA and all this other stuff. And you start putting this stuff together and you start filling your cup up. You're going to feel better as a human being. You're going to be like more confident. You're going to be more comfortable. Like things are going to work out for you better. Things won't go against you. Your attitude will be better. You'll be more grateful because of the work you're putting in. And there's a saying in golf, the harder I work, the luckier I get. That's fucking true. I mean, just like last week, like perfect example. We did prep, right, on Monday, right? And what was the prep? We're going to take CLSK calls right off the bottom here if they give us the opportunity. We did it. They hit 70%, and we were out. Boom, done. I don't care about this. We caught this, and we were prepped because we saw this. That was the preparation that put in. Same thing with Morris. It popped up, boom. They ripped, you get out, right? And Wright did too. But I'm saying, I guess my point is it's the preparation, it's the discipline, it's putting the whole package together, and don't expect to do it right away. And if you're like, oh, well, I'm doing it now, and oh man, I broke it. And shoot, I did that. That's okay. Don't just be mindful of what you're doing, and that you want to work towards getting to that consistency 40 days in a row. If you can do something 40 days in a row, you build a habit. It's not 30, it's 40. It's 40. You got to do 40 days in a row to build a high quality habit. So OG, you got 35 more days of quality trading to build those habits that you're putting in. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Take your time. You guys, you know what? The cool thing is, thank you, is we have a new year coming, right? I want everybody to succeed. Everyone in here. And everybody can succeed. You have $500 account? You can turn that into 10K. Just don't try to turn it into 10K in a day, right? Be smart. Apply these little things, right? Work on yourself. Because the better you become as a human being and as a trader, guess what? Everything around you is going to be better, because then people are going to respond to you better. You're not going to become as reactive to other people and be like, oh, fuck you, you did this, oh, or whatever, people do. You're going to be like, no, I don't need to react to that. Why? Well, that's important because you're not doing that in the market. You don't need to react. You just assess the situation. You pull up the chart. You pull up 1 hour. You define your risk. You execute the trade, and then you either learn from it or you complement yourself and grow from it, and you build that habit. And then in the real world, you can look at it the same way. Well, somebody says something, or somebody comes into your life or is in your life that's testing you, emotionally. Like my ex just showed up. Like she shouldn't have been here for another 4 hours. And yeah, that was a test for me, right? How am I going to respond to her? Right? Am I going to be like cussing her out? No, no, right? Or am I going to be like super emotional and pissed off? Like, yeah, it's hard to keep it, in check, but man, that's a test for me, right? And if I handle that test right, that probably, I won't ever see that test again, most likely, right? But if I don't, I'll probably see that test again. I guarantee it, actually, 100%, if I don't handle it right, And so, like, looking at the patterns within yourself, like, we're here to, I don't know what you guys believe in, I don't really care, but I believe that we are here to just, to become more godlike, more like light, more, spread more joy, spread more happiness, be more grateful, all that good stuff, right? And each person, every one of us is in this room for a reason, and we're here to help each other out and also test each other, right? And so you may not like something that somebody says. Well, you should look within yourself because something's getting reflected back on you to tell you like, hey, you should not have reacted that way. You need to learn something from that moment and handle it better, or understand why you feel so emotional towards that statement, because it's obviously a test in some certain way. And when you start looking at life that way, then you're gonna slow things down. You're not gonna be so reactive, and you're gonna appreciate things a little bit more. And I think that's important, especially, we're in the holidays. It's a season for giving time and, being giving. And it's not always about money. Just not. Like, yeah, we trade for money, but like, this is not the time to be like, oh, I need this or I want this. Like, come on. Like, just take a step back. Like, let's be grateful. And, there's a lot of people in the world that, don't have any money at all. And if you got $500 in your account, you're better off than most people in the world. And if you don't think that, well, you know what? You got a rude awakening coming for you, in my opinion. And you're just going to constantly see certain things. You should just be grateful for what you have, count your blessings, and try to spread joy. And I think, you guys are going to see a whole different, movie, if you will, or, movie play out in your lives, next year. And that's what it's about. It's about us growing as a community, us, identifying trades that, give us, create more happiness within the community, more gifts, and then greater financial success, obviously. So I'll leave you guys with that. And if you have any questions, just reach out. And we're going to have a nice, relaxing week this week. If a trade sets up, great. If not, that's fine too. So, well, I hope you guys have a great Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon. And I'll see you in chat.